Alrighty, hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. Hello while running, congrats on first. Hello Ripley, thank you for the check-in as well. I hope you guys are doing wonderfully tonight. We are back for another cozy, quiet ASMR stream tonight. Hope everybody had a good weekend. I am going to be reading some more Otherside Picnic tonight, which we started on a couple weeks ago. So I'm looking forward to doing more. I had a good time reading it last time, and yeah, I'm looking forward to more of it. I hope so there might be like a tiny bit, hopefully only a tiny bit, of like white noise kind of audible in this, which actually may not be a terrible thing for an ASMR stream, but I have a space heater running because our furnace is not running. So yeah, we're getting that fixed, but in the meantime, I have alternative means of staying warm right now, which means that it's got a fan running on there also, and the 3DO mic does pick up a lot, so I'm not sure exactly how audible it is, but you can't hear it. Okay, then I won't worry about it, so that's good. It might be more audible if I was just like not talk at all and just go, I don't know, maybe it is, maybe it's not, but it sounds like maybe it's not, so, you know, that's a good thing. So, but yeah, I hope everybody's had a good weekend, though. Did you guys do anything particularly fun? Go any cool places? Eat any yummy foods? Have any exciting times this weekend? Or, alternatively, if you just stayed home and kept it nice and chill and relaxing, that's also awesome too. I know we're like right up against the holidays, so like it's a lot out there. So I completely feel that if you're just like, I'm staying home. You went to a ghost kitchen that you didn't know was a ghost kitchen. Really? Like you went to it? Because, like, I know ghost kitchens are, like, basically, like, they're fake, well, quote-unquote fake restaurants for, like, delivery, right? Hello, Zhao. Welcome in. How are you doing tonight? Yeah, because that's, like, it's a listing for delivery, but, like, the restaurant doesn't exist outside of just like a kitchen somewhere, right? Usually like a bunch of them in one place. Nice to see you too. So what, did you like look up the listing and then like drive there and it was not real? Hello, Sad Starlight. How's it going? Welcome in. You set up an order for pickup and you went to a TGA Fridays and it was not that. That's wild. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I know that like became like a major thing like after COVID, but like I guess I wasn't sure how much that was like still a phenomenon, but I guess there's not really a reason why it wouldn't be. So, yeah. So, oh wait, I should rate this. Oh, thank you for the daily check-ins at Starlight. Welcome in. Let me see here. So we will be, I will be reading from a book tonight. ASMR redeems are still, like, active. So you can still, you know, put in your trigger requests and stuff, and I will still get to them. I'll also still do my best to answer chat as soon as I can, but I will be waiting in between. I'll be like getting to them basically in between chapters, or like particularly like good places to like break from the story basically, so as to like not interrupt the flow of the story too much. Hello, CJ. Welcome in. Thank you, lovely CJ. How are you doing tonight? I hope you've had a lovely weekend. Yeah, I should actually like put this in here, and I'll pin the say I was taking ASMR requests. No, I am taking them. Here, let me do this real quick so you can see what I've got. I will say, if you guys want to put in immediate ASMR requests, go ahead and do that now, and I can get to them right now. And then once we start on story reading, then it will be, you know, in between chapters that I'll get to those. So yeah, hopefully, let me see. Doing okay? How about my weekend was good. We are having some slight difficulties with our heating. So that part's not fun, but other than that, you know, good weekend, mostly. So had a fun time doing some peak gameplay with the D and Dark hosts yesterday. That was a lot of fun. And then I had like a gaming night with some local friends last night, and that was fun. So played some Guilty Gear and Grand Blue and Dragon Ball. Can I make a grilled cheese cooking ASMR? Like a role play? Or like literally cooking a grilled cheese? Cooking ASMR again? I mean, so I don't have... No, like actually making a grilled cheese. Okay. I don't have that kind of equipment set up near my streaming setup. I'm trying to think how I would go about doing that. Yeah, I apologize. You heard grilled cheese. Hello, Ariette. Like, I can try to, like, I don't know, make some sounds that might evoke that. But yeah, I don't have, like, I would need what? Like a stove or something. You already hear my entire community wants grilled cheese. Oh my gosh. Because, like, I do know that, like the sizzling sound of cooking can be very soothing in a way. But I don't have a stove near my streaming setup, unfortunately. So that is not a thing I can do today, unfortunately. But, you know, if I can figure out a way to set up something along those lines, I might look into it. You want real cheese, not the orangey cheese, please. Well, so basically, like cheddar, not American. 3D sizzle when? That's not really a sizzle. I don't know if that's any good. I feel like I need more moisture. Anyways, but yeah, if anybody does want a trigger, gremlin noises works too. If anybody does want to put a trigger request into the channel points, go for it. And I can get them right now, but as soon as I do start, there's the, ooh, fizzy water immediately. Okay, we can do that. We can do that. All right. Usually do mozzarella and cheddar with some really tiny habanero pieces. Ooh, okay. Very nice. I am a big fan of spicy cheese. Hang on one second. It's your responsibility to redeem bubbles. Thank you for the posture check and the head pats, Callium. And the hydrate. Well, good timing. I will get that as soon as here. We should have a little bit of bubbles now before we pour it. Okay. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Water am I forced to consume? Well, I usually, I don't know, I take a solid drink of it. Oh my gosh. Make sure I get both sides here. Okay. Hello, Pocket Mochas. Welcome in. So tonight's fizzy water is a polar. We got more polars because they were on sale. And it is orange vanilla flavor, which I have had on stream before, but it's very good. It's very like creamsicle. Do we have a soda machine? We used to. I haven't had one in a while. Actually, putting that up on Throne might be a thing. Need a hot plate for the stream setup? Well, I'll look into it. Actually, but no, that's actually not a bad idea, Ariadne. I might need to look into putting that on the Throne. I think I might do that. Do it? I will. Actual stove power hookup. I can make grilled cheese in the room. Okay. SodaStream now has something called Mixed. You can carbonate everything. Yeah? Because I know you like weren't supposed to use anything that wasn't like water in most of those. But you have one. It's possum. Nice. Okay. So let me see here. I'm going to. Oh my gosh. It's always the problem with the busy water. Okay. Let's see here. Reading in progress. I will answer chat and redeem requests in between chapters or a break in the story. So I'm going to pin this. And just making sure this is set to manual. There we go. You made chocolate chip cookies and amaretti. Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing, actually. I also have this right here. Oh, I just realized it covers up the... Oh my gosh, thank you so much for the follow, Jazzy James. I just realized I am covering up the colliders there. Let me put this over here. There, that'll work. Yeah, because I don't want to cover you guys up. Okay. So let me see here. We have Otherside Picnic is the light novel we are reading from tonight. We read the first two files a couple weekends ago. So we will now be reading file 3, titled Station February, and file 4, which is titled Time, Space, and a Middle-Aged Man. So I just need to make sure I get to where we left off, and I'll be showing pictures as they come up. Thank you so much for the for the check-in gamers. I appreciate it. Okay, there it is, Station February. Okay. But yes, I will be doing my best to check back in on chat. You're a white bee. They're little sugar cube bees. There are extra colors you can swap to when you have enough points, and you gain those as you watch the stream. And if you are on PC or on desktop or whatever, and you scroll down to the like about section underneath the stream, you should be able to see the options for your colors and such. Okay. But without further ado, Otherside Picnic, File 3, Station February. Also, before I really get underway here, please let me know, guys, if the volume is okay. If I am too loud or too quiet, or if the music is too loud or too quiet, please let me know. And it's extra important on these ASMR streams. File 3, Station February. Chapter 1. All right, here's to Sorobo-san and Toriko-san's second Otherworld expedition. Good work out there. Cheers. Yeah, cheers. Toriko clinked her mug against mine with so much energy I found it off-putting. She was drinking draft beer, while I had plum wine on the rocks. This was our second time drinking together. We were having an after-party for our other world expeditions. After learning about the existence of the other world, Toriko and I had ended up encountering bizarre monsters like the Kunekune and Hashaku-sama. The first time we drank together was on the day we came back alive, defeating the Kunekune. Toriko, who was keen to celebrate, dragged me into a nearby pub. She must have been exhausted, though, because she drank herself into a stupor in no time, and we weren't able to have a proper conversation. Having learned our lesson from last time, this time we were having the party on a different day. It was a few days after our return, on a Friday evening. We'll have the edamame, the potato salad, the chilled tomatoes, the 5 skewer set, the karage chicken, the horse meat tartare, the daikon salad with wakame and small fry, and... Toriko was already ordering food. Also the seared mackerel sashimi, and that's about it, I guess. Sorabo, that good? Okay, that'll do for now. You ordered that stuff planning to eat all of it, right? We'll manage somehow. There's 2 of us. Do you not remember what happened last time? You ordered all that stuff, then you passed out in the middle, and I had to eat it all myself. I don't remember. Oh, you. It'll be fine today. I came prepared. Prepared for an after party? While I was thinking, what, you had to prepare that much? In exasperation, Toriko picked up a wasabi cream cheese hors d'oeuvres with her chopsticks and looked at it. We wouldn't be going on an expedition today, so we were both dressed casually. I was wearing a parka and jeans, while Toriko wore her camo jacket with a denim skirt and tights. 5 p.m. The tavern had just opened for the night, and customers were still sparse. That said, this was a Friday night in Shinjuku, so it was going to get loud soon. When I thought about that, I knew I was going to be fed up with it soon. I'd been to 2 or 3 parties since getting into university, but I wasn't able to keep up with the people around me, and it was exhausting. It was a lot easier with Toriko. If we were going to do this, maybe I should have insisted on a place with private rooms. Oh, yeah, so about the hat we picked up after coming back from the other world. I took it to Kazakura's place yesterday, but she said it just looked like an ordinary hat, and she wouldn't buy it off me. What a cheapo. No, she's right. I mean, there was nothing unusual about it. Toriko had an acquaintance, Kazakura, who was a cognitive scientist and was researching the other world. I'd only met her once, so I didn't know precisely how she was researching it, but she apparently collected strange items brought back from there. Toriko made a hefty sum off of that, and I'd been given a cut too. But Sorabo, that hat looked funny to you, didn't it? It did shine silver a little. Oh, yeah. Come to think of it, your right eye. Did it go back to normal? Toriko leaned over the table, making me unintentionally lean back in response. It unnerved me having her stare into my eyes so close. I wish she'd stop. Toriko was insanely beautiful, so when she brought her face this close to me, it was a kind of violence, honestly. It took you way too long to notice. I just put in a color contact. The lapis lazuli color of my eye had changed to stood out too much, so I put a black color contact in just my right eye. That's a waste. It's so pretty. Toriko pursed her lips as she sat back in her chair. A faint, pleasant scent lingered in my nose, and I had no idea what to do about it. Tongue-tied, I tried to respond. Well, you're wearing gloves too, aren't you? Today, Toriko was wearing a thin pair of leather gloves. We were eating now, so she had just taken the right glove off. Still, though, just about anything looked great on her. It pissed me off. Everyone's surprisingly willing to pretend they don't notice, so it's fine. There's this guy who was sneaking photos before, though, and I didn't like that. We survived our encounter with the Kunekune, but not unharmed. My right eye, now discolored like it was some sort of gemstone, saw something other than the reality I saw with my left eye. It saw the truth of the other world. Toriko's fingers, which had gone translucent, were able to touch the matter of the other world. I hesitate because we had no idea what was going on. At the very least, though, my eye and her hand had gotten us through our encounter with Hishaku-sama. To borrow a term from Kazakura, we'd had an encounter of the fourth kind. An encounter with the other world that involved bodily transformation. Zoro, you want this hat? Toriko reached for the little box at her feet meant to put bags in, and she pulled a Ziploc baggie from her leather tote bag. Inside it, all folded up, was a woman's white, wide-brimmed hat. It was supposed to have a silver halo if I looked at it with my right eye, but in the tavern's lighting, I couldn't tell one way or the other. No, I don't. Well, can I have it then? Toriko pulled the smushed hat out of the bag, then nonchalantly put it on her head. I was shocked, raising my voice to spite myself. What made you want to put that suspicious thing on your head? There was no way to tell if what the nature of an object from the other world was just by looking at it. If Toriko had melted into a pile of goop the moment she put it on her head, what in the world would I have done? In contrast to my fear, Toriko wore an easy smile. Does it suit me? She asked. Everything looks good on you. Now please, take it off while we're eating. Tch. Toriko removed the hat. The area where it had touched her head hadn't gone bald or anything. The food she'd ordered came. Edamame, potato salad, chilled tomatoes, and daikon salad. I waited for the server to go away, then asked, If the hat won't sell, aren't we in the right on this one? Not at all. I brought the old man's AK back. Your voice is too loud. Nobody's listening, okay? When we defeated, if you could call it that, Hishaku-sama, we brought the assault rifle back to the side. It was a Russian-made AK or something. It belonged to this middle-aged guy, Alvarado, who we'd met in the other world. We couldn't carry it openly, but while I was wondering what we were going to do about it, Toriko skillfully disassembled the gun and hid it in her luggage. But there's no bullets, right? You fired them all. I've got a little ammo I picked up in the other world that I'm still hiding. I think we can use some of it. That gun was an AK-101. 5.56 ammo isn't that unusual. When we talked about this dangerous stuff like it was perfectly ordinary, I felt my sense of normalcy was getting messed up too. I've been meaning to ask, but where'd you learn to use a gun? Overseas, Toriko answered curtly, and I furrowed my brow. In a terrorist camp or something? Nothing like that. Well, if you don't want to say, that's fine. What's the matter? You never talk about yourself either, you know? You've never asked. I bet you don't even care, Toriko. That's not true. I figured you didn't want me being nosy. You don't mind if I ask? I thought about it, and then I surprised myself. The way I'd been before now, I should have refused outright. It wasn't that I was shouldering some misfortune so great I'd be hesitant to talk about it, or that I had some incredible past. My family situation wouldn't be all that interesting to hear about. I was just an unsociable university student from outside Tokyo, without anything all that special about me. Still, I didn't like people rooting into my private business. I didn't put my nose into other people's affairs, and I wished they'd leave me alone too. I especially hated people who weren't actually interested in me, but tried to get close by being overly friendly. That's how it should have been, at least. How about it? I'll ask, you know. I'll dig into every little crack, into every nook and cranny of your life, both public and private. Even Toriko's words, which I couldn't be sure if they were a joke or not, mysteriously made me think, if it's her, I'd be okay with that. With my mind made up, I opened my mouth. Go ahead. When I answered that, Toriko stared at me. Then she burst out laughing. You really are funny, Zoro. What? Because you look so determined. You don't have to push yourself. I'm sure you've got stuff you don't want me getting into. Sorry. Yeah. I felt like the rug had been pulled out from under me, and I floundered around trying to recover until the mackerel sashimi arrived. The server lit up a blowtorch, searing the mackerel sashimi right there at the table. While I was watching, Toriko spoke up. When's the next time you can go out? Next time? The words didn't come out immediately. The flames of the blowtorch stopped, the server left, and the singed mackerel remained. I reached out with my chopsticks, still thinking of how to answer. With the Kune-Kune and Hashaku-sama, we'd managed to get out of some dicey situations so far. If this kept up, though, I felt like we were going to wind up dead sooner or later. Toriko had the goal of finding her missing friend Satsuki, so she'd take whatever risks she had to. But me? You aren't scared, Toriko? Toriko moved her beer mug away from her mouth, cocking her head to the side and giving me a blank look. I think we both came pretty close to dying, you know? Yeah, but we didn't die. You're not scared? I am scared, but it'll be fine. What's with that confidence? I was exasperated with her, but Toriko shook her head. If I were alone, I'd have broken by now. That, or maybe I'd have died first. Well, why then? Using the finger of the hand she was holding her mug with, Toriko pointed at me. We'll manage somehow. There's 2 of us. Was that the issue here? 1 second. In between chapters. Hello, Verishels. How's it going? Natcha. Oh, I see. Mm-hmm. Hello, Natcha. Welcome back in. Hello, Ing. Hello, Boo. How's it going? And yes, I am doing readings from Otherside Picnic. Just finished chapter 1 of file 3. So, moving onwards. Oh, let me double check and make sure I'm not missing the YouTube end of that things too. Okay, cool. Chapter 2. While Toriko was in the washroom, I asked for the bill. It was a bit past 8 p.m. We'd started early, so we were ending early, too. Sorry for the wait. Toriko came back, looking exhausted. I sure ate. What'd the bill come to? 9,504 yen. Toriko hadn't fallen asleep this time, but she'd still over-ordered and been unable to finish, so I got stuck finishing her leftovers. If she'd held back some orders, it should have been 1,000 yen cheaper. She hadn't hesitated with the drinks either. We racked up a nice bill, huh? Don't say that like it's not your problem, I grumbled back at her. I don't know about Toriko, but this wasn't an amount that an impoverished student like me should have been spending on a single meal. I had some money on hand now, sure, but it'd come from a troublesome source, and I wasn't eager to waste it. Her, on the other hand... Seeing Toriko sway a little in her seat, I looked at her dubiously. You okay? You're gonna be able to make it home all right by yourself? Probably. Maybe. Toriko insisted in English as she swayed left and right. While I was still thinking, oh, really? One of the employees came back with our change. He put the coins and receipt down on the table. This is Yarai, so the Abarogatsu will be coming. That's what it sounded like, he said. Huh? Unable to figure out what he was saying, I looked up. The Abarogatsu is coming, he repeated, sounding annoyed. Looking closer, he was holding the blowtorch from earlier. Right. I nodded vaguely, with no clue what was going on, and the employee turned around and headed into the kitchen. Hey, how much should I put in? 4,752 yen. Just now, did you get what he said? I wasn't listening. What did I mishear? I cocked my head to the side in puzzlement as I stood up, heading for the exit. The moment I opened the sliding door and went outside, I felt my vision blur. As I closed the door, out of nowhere, there was a sharp barking from the kitchen. Did something just go woof? Toriko turned back too. The door to the tavern was already closed. Beyond the lattice door with its frosted glass, a peal of laughter erupted. There was a sound of glass breaking, then the laughter grew even louder. I felt kind of weird. Was I drunk? Toriko might have been, but I didn't think I drank all that much. It was quiet outside. There was no noise of cars. I never would have thought Shinjuku could be so quiet at this time. In the dark, the lights of the various businesses and their signs glowed faintly in the corners of my vision. Sorrow, which way's the station? It's that way. Keep it together. And yet, it seemed as though I was fairly inebriated myself. I felt dizzy. It was probably best if I got home and went to sleep right away. But, well, I didn't feel too badly about it. because drinking with Toriko had been a lot of fun. In the end, I felt like we hadn't talked about anything substantive, though. Isn't it kind of dark? Toriko asked. Maybe they're saving electricity. They don't need to make it this dark, though. As I walked along, slightly tipsy, I felt more and more like something was wrong. We weren't reaching the station. Weird. What was going on? This was Shinjuku. It was Friday in the business district, yet we were the only people around. More than that, at some point the roads we were on had changed from asphalt to a dirt path through waist-high grass. Ah, Sorrow, you took us the wrong way, didn't you? There you go, trying to put the blame on... Wait, was Shinjuku this rustic? Finally, we came to a stop, looking at one another. Where are we? That's when it happened. There was a rumbling wind in the sky above, getting closer, and then a massive shadow fell on us. With wings spread to the left and right, it looked like a bird. It was pitch black, so I couldn't make out the details. When those wings, which looked about as large as a jumbo jet's, flapped slowly, the wind created by them slammed into the ground. The grass was mowed down, and at the same time an oily smell struck my nose. We watched in a trance as the shadow of the bird which had blotted out the night sky departed. The buildings of Shinjuku were gone now, and there wasn't a light to be seen. We knew this place. It wasn't clear how it had happened, but we were in the other world. At night. Hello, Ginger Southpaw. Merry Christmas to you as well. And welcome back in, Ing. I hope you had some good food. Chapter 3. The way the wind made waves across the grassy plains made them look like the surface of some dark body of water. It was our first time in the other world at night. It had always been in the middle of the day when we came before, and in my 2 expeditions with Toriko, we'd gone home before the sun set. That was because we were afraid to face the night in this unknown world. Toriko, I forget, but have you been here at night before? In response to my question, Toriko shook her head. No, Satsuki said it was dangerous, so I've avoided it. Satsuki-san, the person who was responsible for dragging Toriko into exploring this other world, and also her friend. I'd never met her, because she disappeared before Toriko and I became acquainted. From what I'd heard, it sounded like she'd been exploring this other world forever, and had quite a lot of experience with it. Now we had set foot into a situation even she had said was dangerous. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't curious, but I wasn't emotionally prepared for this, and we didn't have our equipment for exploring either. This wasn't a situation I wanted to be in at all. I mean, let's be blunt. This was bad news, right? Sorabo, do you have a gun? Toriko asked, lowering her voice. Of course not. Who takes a gun to go out drinking? I trailed off mid-sentence as it occurred to me who might. Wait, do you? I was just thinking I should have brought it. Figures. My shoulders slumped. Who knew I'd ever be disappointed to find out my friend wasn't carrying a gun? As my eyes wandered around the area, they gradually adjusted to the starlight. At the same time, I became more aware of little noises. The other world was completely... wait, hang on. I completely lost my There it is. As my eyes wandered around the area, they gradually adjusted to the starlight. At the same time, I became more aware of little noises. The other world was completely different at night. There were signs of living beings. In daytime, you wouldn't hear so much as a bird's cry, only the sound of the wind through the grass. It felt like an artificial world. Yet now, there were the sounds of birds, bugs, and other animals from all over, and I could hear the rustling of little critters running through the roots of the grass too. With the exception of the footpath we'd followed here, the undulating plain stretched out as far as the eye could see. There were small groves, single isolated trees, and mound-like rises silhouetted darkly against the backdrop of the night sky. Toriko, why do you think we entered the other world? I don't know. Did we go through anywhere that strange? I shook my head, Nothing came to mind. Tracing my memories back, when we left the tavern, I felt like my vision had flickered for a moment. My right eye could see a silver phosphorescence that outlined objects of the other world, so maybe that's what the flickering was about. In order to enter the other world, I thought you would need to find either a hidden entrance or go through some complicated procedure. The back door of an abandoned building, an elevator which you press the button in a certain sequence, a torii gate at a shrine in the mountains that you pass through at a certain angle in time, and so on. But this time, we'd just been in an ordinary tavern, drinking normally. If I thought about it, things were strange before we left the tavern. Had that place itself been weird? Or did we do something inside it? We haven't done anything weird, right? Yeah, I agreed with Toriko. I think we just came out of the tavern. Was it a specific sequence of orders from the menu or something? We're not trying to find bugs in a game here. I raised my voice as it suddenly hit me. What is it? The hat. Ah. Toriko's eyes went wide, and then she awkwardly looked away. I told you not to put it on. That's not necessarily what caused it. I'd say it's pretty likely, wouldn't you? Well, do you want me to try putting it on again? No, stop. Don't touch it anymore. I hurriedly stopped Toriko as she reached for her tote bag. I must have surprised her with my tone, because Toriko both raised her hands in front of her chest with a little sign of surrender. I get it. I won't touch it. Okay? Okay. There wasn't a single thing that was okay about it, though. I covered my face as I let out a sigh. All right. What now? How precisely were we going to get back? Up until now, there had been a pretty clearly defined exit to the other world, and we just had to go back to it to go home. This time, there was nothing like that. Even if we retraced the path we came, I didn't see anything like a door that would lead into that tavern. Which way do you want to go? Toriko asked. For now, let's not move around anymore. We could step into a glitch. In the other world, there were what seemed to be supernatural traps, and you never knew what they would do to you if you stepped into them. The man we'd met on this side, Aberrato, had called them glitches. Maybe we should sit here until the night is over. I looked up as I said that, and Toriko was staring over my shoulder at something. I'm getting the feeling we won't be able to do that. Huh? When I turned back, following her gaze, I saw a large shadow standing outlined against the starry sky. Is that a giraffe? I thought for a moment, because it looked like a tall, four-legged beast. But as I looked upwards, that impression went away. The torso that was supported by those long, thin legs had no neck. Chee! It let out a noise that reminded me of the chirping of cicadas, and at the same time started stamping the ground. The masses hanging from its torso swayed in time with the stamping. What are those? I squinted and was shocked. It looked like there were several human bodies, bundled up like mummies, suspended from its ropes. As the cicada chirping got louder, the four-legged beast came towards us. There were dull thuds as the masses hanging beneath it hit one another. Seeing what looked like human forms hanging there like meat, I felt like I'd been splashed with cold water. Whatever tipsiness I'd been feeling was long gone. Sorrow, what is this? I grabbed the dazed Toriko by the hand. It's something we should run away from. Let's scram. Hello, let me see. True Gamer is super and Zuar Jeller. Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. I hope you guys are doing well. Oops, wrong direction there. Let me see here. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna take a quick drink and then we'll move on to the next chapter. Is this a novel? Yes, it is. This is Otherside Picnic, which is the light novel series. We are on story number 3. Thank you for the check-in, Spike Kirby. Hello, how are you doing today? I hope you're having a good weekend. But yeah, we are on file number 3, which is basically they're broken up into little episodic stories. The gist of the novel is it's about 2 college girls who basically find in like an alternate world or whatever that they can kind of come and go from. And it's basically like kind of this weird kind of apocalyptic looking place that doesn't really have any people, but has like creepypasta monsters, effectively like SCP monsters in it, that they occasionally go hunting so that they can like bring artifacts home and sell them. There's more to it than that, but that's the basic idea. In this particular story, they wind up accidentally back in the other world at nighttime, which they have up to this point never done before. And they have been told that it's dangerous to be there at night, and now they are there at night. So, Chapter 4. Pushing our way through the grass, we ran across the other world's night. Having suddenly been thrown into the situation, it didn't feel real yet. My legs were all wobbly, like I was in a nightmare. Something passed, shrieking, overhead. There was a flock of either butterflies or moths dancing through the starry sky. Zoro, are we going to be fine with glitches running like this? Toriko shouted from behind me. Stay with me. Whatever you do, don't get separated. I looked back as I ran and took Toriko's hand. Toriko's right hand gripped mine back tightly through its thin leather glove. If I focused on my right eye's vision, the night of the other world was a little bit brighter. The light came from the glitches that were everywhere. In places that seemed to have nothing at first, there would be a silver halo, warning me of a supernatural threat. And we have an illustration. So it's the two of them running through the other side at night with all of the glowing glitches kind of scattered along the ground. I hadn't forgotten the fear of nearly walking into a toaster last time. We'd nearly been cooked alive. Alvarado had thrown bolts ahead of him as he walked forward to search for the existence of glitches, but there was no time for that now. With footsteps chasing after us, we continued to run even as we ran out of breath. Though there was a silver radiance, it didn't change the fact that the area was still dark. As I squinted, looking ahead of us so as not to miss any changes in the terrain or threats to us, my wide-open right eye started to hurt. Tears flowed, blurring my vision. The ground rose up before us like an embankment. It continued to the left and right, and there was no way around. Going uphill, I warned as I ran, and headed up the slope. I tried to pull Toriko's hand as I went, but my feet came to a stop. It was steeper than I'd thought. It's okay. I can go alone, Toriko said, letting go of my hand. When I turned back, uncertain, Toriko's sweaty face was looking back at me. Wordlessly nodding, Toriko started to climb the hill. We got down on all fours like animals and clambered up the slope. Behind us, there were dogs barking. Halfway up the slope, I turned to look. With its awkward motions, the headless beast was getting closer. It looked like it had a relaxed gait, but the length of its legs made each stride that much longer. There was something moving in the grass at its feet. I couldn't see it, just the grass being parted. The dogs barked again. Were they dogs? Really? Whatever they were after us. Then, through a gap in the grass, I saw them. I almost screamed despite myself. It was a face. I only saw it for a moment, but the two black eye sockets, the wide-open mouth, and the wide-open mouth were positioned in a way very similar to a human face. What? As Toriko was about to look back, I turned to face her. Don't stop. Hurry. Go. Urging Toriko on, I finished climbing the slope. The moment I stood back up, I tripped on something hard. I put out a hand to catch myself, but didn't land on grass. It was gravel. Zoro! My palm hurt. Clinging to the arm Toriko offered me as I stood up, I looked around at the top of the embankment. I was surprised. There were tracks. Rusted iron rails continued to the left and right. Wooden electrical poles at fixed intervals stood alongside the tracks, and a drooping electrical line ran between them. More planes spread out on the far side of the embankment, and the mysterious creature was hot on our heels. Trying to decide which way to head, I stood in my tiptoes to look around. When I was squinting at the tracks to the right, I felt like I saw something flash. Unlike the silver haze, this was a well-defined light. Instantly making a decision, I took Toriko's hand again, running along the tracks. If there were tracks, there had to be a station somewhere. That might have been the light I'd just seen. That was what I reflexively thought, but this was the other world. Our common sense didn't apply here. I was starting to doubt whether these were even train tracks to begin with, but if I thought about it that much, I wasn't going to be able to do anything. I heard footsteps on the gravel, and both of us turned back this time. "Faces," Toriko said with a gulp. I hadn't been mistaken before. Whatever was chasing us, they had human faces. White, egg-shaped faces floating in the darkness, their eye sockets and mouths sunken in black. I couldn't make out their exact features, but the vague faces were actually creepier. Even more unpleasant was how low to the ground they all were. Barking like dogs, the faces rushed towards us. Behind them, I could see the giraffe-like beast climbing the embankment with unsteady steps. Oh, crap. They were catching up. If they caught us... What was going to happen if they caught us? What were these guys going to do to us? I shuddered at the fact that I had no idea. If these were wild dogs, I could have imagined the pain of being bitten, the horror of being mauled to death, but I didn't even know what these things were. With no place to go, the terror in my chest grew without limit, and I felt like I was going to puke. My breathing grew shallow and hurried, and I felt a tightening in my solar plexus. My eyes bulged, my mouth hung open, and the realization that I must have been making the same face as our pursuers terrified me to no end. If I screamed now, I was sure my own voice would be like nothing I'd ever heard. Forcing the air from deep inside my lungs, it would be a bestial cry, like nothing you'd expect a woman to make. "Zoro, move!" Toriko's hand slapped in the middle of my back. "Ah!" This stupidly silly voice came out of my mouth. The scream was a dud. As I blinked, Toriko grabbed me by the shoulder, forcing me to face her. Her face occupied my entire vision. The face of a woman with a properly defined nose and eyes. "Don't give up. Let's go." Yes. This time, Toriko pulled my hand. With my panic interrupted and my thinking more or less stalled out, my feet still kept moving forward. Through the endless night, all I could see was Toriko's back as she pulled me by the hand. "We'll manage somehow. There's two of us." Her words from the after party came back to my paralyzed mind. She might be right. If I was with Toriko, whatever was ahead of us, whatever happened. Suddenly, Toriko stopped. It seemed she'd seen something up ahead. "Zoro, this way!" "Huh?" I stumbled as she jerked hard on my arm. I tripped on one of the rails and fell to the left side of the tracks with Toriko. "Stay down! Don't raise your face!" Toriko said, pushing my head onto the ground. Before I could wonder what was up, there were gunshots from ahead. The brilliant flash of gunfire in the darkness left an afterimage in my vision. I could hear bullets whooshing by, right over us. Behind us, there was a yelping that sounded just like a dog's, and something scampered down the embankment and down into the distance. It got quiet. Hesitantly, I looked up. There was the sound of footsteps on gravel. Someone was approaching. Not alone. There were several people. Eventually, what came into my vision was soldiers carrying assault rifles. They wore camo uniforms and helmets, with night vision goggles on their faces. I couldn't tell the exact number, but there looked to be close to 10 of them. The two in front had their guns trained on us, while their comrades were watching the area around us and looking down the tracks. The moment we tried to get up, the number of guns aimed at us increased. "Don't move," came the warning in English. "Don't shoot," Toriko responded, also in English. Still on the ground, I put my hands up and hurriedly said, "Don't shoot, don't shoot." In my case, my voice may have been so quiet it didn't reach them. With guns still pointed at us, the soldiers approached. "Are you human?" One raised his goggles, looking at us in disbelief. He spoke in Japanese this time. We're human." "Lieutenant, something is still there." One of them shouted a warning. Then the soldiers took aim with their guns again. This time, down the tracks. When I turned to look, that four-legged beast stood there, straddling the tracks. The corpses dangling below it were swaying. From the side, it would have looked like the gallows It would have looked like a gallows was walking this way on 4 legs. Behind it, another humanoid form appeared, tall, muscular, and naked. From the neck up, it was a bushy mass of vegetation, and deer-like antlers grew out of the sides of its head. The antlers branched in a fine fractal-like pattern, spreading out like coral. The man with antlers seemed to be staring in our direction, but eventually he turned to look away, descending from the embankment as if he'd lost interest. The 4-legged beast backed away, making cicada noises. We waited with bated breath for it to disappear, and finally the soldiers lowered their guns. The man they'd called Lieutenant extended a hand to us. "Are you all right?" Thank you." The soldiers approached as he helped us up. Their gazes were full of killing intent, and I could tell they were clearly wary of us. "Are we sure they're human? Aren't they monsters too?" They were speaking in English, but even I could make out that much. One of the soldiers came forward, speaking impatiently. "Lieutenant, you shouldn't get close. I'm sure they're... too. Let's shoot them." I couldn't pick it all up because he'd spoke so fast, but I knew what he was saying, I knew that was what he said in his rapid English. He turned his gun on us again. He held the rifle so tightly his knuckles were white. The other soldiers watched anxiously to see how things would develop, making no attempt to intervene. Just when we thought we'd been saved, were we going to be shot by suspicious humans? While I went stiff, Toriko stepped up to protect me. Instinctively, I grabbed her by the hand and stopped her. When Toriko turned back to me, I glared at her. "I don't need you protecting me. If we're going to get shot, we're both finished." While Toriko and I were glaring at each other, surrounded by a group of tough soldiers, the lieutenant intervened. "Stop, Greg. You must have seen it. These girls were being chased by the horned man. They're human." "But Lieutenant..." "Sergeant Major, lower your gun. That's an order." The sergeant major he called Greg glared at us as he slowly lowered his gun, and the lieutenant turned back to us. "Who are you? Where did you come from?" Shinjuku. In Tokyo." "Tokyo? Did she say Tokyo?" There was a surprised chatter from the soldiers. "That's hundreds of miles away." "Where'd you come from?" Toriko asked, and the lieutenant answered. "Okinawa." "Okinawa?" Hearing an unexpected name, it was our turn to be caught by surprise. We'd already known there was a dislocation between distances in this world and distances in our own, though. "Then you're U.S. forces in Japan?" The lieutenant nodded in response to Toriko. "We're with the Marines. I'm Lieutenant Will Drake, Pale Horse Battalion, 3rd Company, 2nd in command," the lieutenant said in a soft tone. Here begins Fate's episode. Welcome in, Ludwig. How's it going? You already want this book. I love this series so much. It's very, very good. I do recommend. There is also an anime adaptation, although that only really had 1 season and probably isn't getting more, but there is an ongoing manga adaptation also. You should watch the anime. There's a couple differences in the way the story flows in the anime compared to the light novels. But the manga is, I think, fairly close to the light novels. But also the anime is pretty fun, so I do like it. Chapter 5. "So you don't know a way out either." Right. We aren't sure what triggered us coming to this world." My response made Lieutenant Drake shake his head. "That's a shame. I thought we might finally be able to escape from this hell." We were walking down the tracks, surrounded by the Marines. I could feel Sergeant Major Greg's hostility behind me, and couldn't relax. Though he'd lowered his gun, for now, he hadn't relaxed his guard around us in the slightest. Thank you for the check-in, Blazer. But it wasn't just him. I couldn't say the looks the other Marines were giving us were friendly either. I thought it would be good to communicate with, and try to put them at ease, but I was bound to put my foot in my mouth after I made things worse, so I decided not to. Stroking the stubble on his face with a gloved hand, the lieutenant continued. "I'm sorry to say this, but we may not be able to help you girls back to the world you came from. We've been on the other side for over a month now, but we still haven't found a way to escape." The other side, in English, was their name for the other world. With his helmet removed, the lieutenant's curly locks and melancholy eyes gave him a distinctive impression. He seemed like a quiet person. Dropping in and saying hi before you go? Absolutely. Have a great night, Blazer. He might... Wait, where was I? The other side, in English, was their name for the other world. With his helmet removed, the lieutenant's curly locks and melancholy eyes gave him a distinctive impression. He seemed like a quiet person. He might just have been tired, though. The bags under his eyes spoke to just how spent he was. How did all of you end up in this world? I asked. We were training in the mountains, when somehow our whole unit ended up here. By the time we realized the vegetation was different from what you'd find in Okinawa, it was too late. We gathered our scattered company together and deployed with the station building as our base, but we've taken a few casualties, at the very least. There was a slight frustration in his voice. Toriko turned back in the direction we'd come. Casualties? Did the monsters from before get them? That was only a small portion of them. Did you see? The bodies hanging from its belly? Yeah. Those were our comrades. The mule, too. Mule? You mean the headless giraffe thing? He was originally a cargo carrier robot attached to our unit. While he was carrying their remains, he got caught in a strange bear trap and stopped moving, so we had no choice but to leave him. Then he showed up in that form later and started to attack people. He told the story so plainly, the bizarreness of its content didn't hit me for a little while. Basically, that four-legged beast was, in fact, a transformed machine. When I thought about how that cicada-like chirping was the whir of the engine, it made sense, but still, what a shock. Up until that point, I'd had it in my head that only living creatures could be influenced by the other world. The bear trap he'd referred to might have been a glitch. I couldn't imagine what the underlying process could have what underlying process could have warped a machine like that. While I was at a loss for words, Toriko kept talking to the lieutenant. So, you mentioned a station building? Yes, Station February. It's a small, old station. Why is it February? That's what was written there. Following the tracks as they curved to the right, a station hidden in the grove of trees came into view. There were small lights illuminating the single-line platform. Having found light in the darkness at last, I felt myself noticeably relax. Climbing the stairs onto the platform, we stood on the cracked concrete. There was a white bench with peeling paint and a wooden station building that looked like an impromptu shack, only illuminated by yellow-tinged light bulbs. You have electricity running here? I don't know. They've been lit since we got here, but there's no sign of power lines. The train tracks continued past the station. When I squinted down in that direction, I felt like I was going to be swallowed by the darkness. Are there other abandoned stations? I asked. None that we've found yet, and it seems this one isn't abandoned either. Huh? What are you... Turning in response to the lieutenant's implicative words, the station name sign jumped into view. There is, technically, a small, like just a picture of the sign up here. Thanks to that, I finally learned what kind of place this was. Station February, Kisaragi Station. Chapter 6. Kisaragi Station is a famous bit of internet lore. I knew the exact time the incident which came to be known under this name had occurred. It was January 8th, 2004 at 11 p.m. I can say that because the incident was posted in real time on 2channel, the anonymous message board. It all began with a post saying, "There's something wrong with the train I'm on. The train didn't stop at the station it was supposed to, and when it finally did stop, it was at a deserted station the poster had never seen before." The sign there read Kisaragi Station, but that line wasn't supposed to have a station by that name. The person experiencing the event used their cell phone to call their family and post online as they tried to get home. But as they were being taken somewhere in a suspicious individual's car, their phone's power died, and all contact was lost. I was only a child in 2004, so I found out about this much later, but after this story was written, there was a massive increase in the number of these wandered into another world accounts. It may have been the first of this kind of internet lore. To be honest, I was feeling more than a little emotional. It was like I was making a pilgrimage to a holy site. This was on a whole different level from meeting the Kunekune or Hoshaku-sama. Sure, they'd closely resembled creatures spoken of in lore, but it wasn't like they'd introduced themselves with those names. This was different. Here, it actually said Kisaragi. This station shouldn't have existed, but it really did. Can you blame me for feeling a rush of emotion at that? Oh my god! Oh my gosh, hang on here. Hello, Raiders! Hello! Got your chair in the corner? What? Hello, everybody from Sophia Wolf's stream. Hello! It's a Puppy Pack raid. Welcome in, everybody. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for the follow. Is it Chrono? I appreciate it so much. How was your ASMR stream, Sophia? Give me 1 second here. Let me make sure that I do that right there. Oh my gosh, wrong copy paste. No worries. Welcome in, everybody. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for the follows. Let me see here. Sparky, Blooper King, Bugcatcher Nathan, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, you guys. Hello, Chimes and Climbs. How's it going? Welcome in, everybody. Wow. I think Hope Stream has been going well. It has. We are doing a story reading from a light novel called Otherside Picnic. Hello. My model is so cute. Aw, thank you so much. I appreciate it. How was your ASMR stream? I hope it went well. That sounds comfy. Yeah, it is. I will put out front there that it is a it's not really horror, but it is a slightly kind of creepy-ish story. The gist of it is it's two college-age girls who find themselves, like they find basically portals effectively to another world, that where it's kind of like an apocalyptic alternate reality, and there are, for lack of a better way to put it, basically like SCP creatures in there that they occasionally go hunting to like bring artifacts back to sell. And in this particular story, they accidentally stumbled back into the world again, and now they're there at night, and they hadn't been there at night before. And they found a group of soldiers who also got lost in the other world, so that's kind of what's going on right now. Stream is so comfy. I'm glad to hear it. I'm doing very well, thank you. Having a lot of fun reading. But yeah, let me introduce myself. If you are not familiar with me, my name is Sucrose Yurishigeki, Kumajo in training. I'm a variety streamer. When I'm not doing ASMR content, I usually focus on retro style games, JRPGs, platformers, Metroidvanias, occasionally fighting games. I play a lot of Grand Blue Rising. And then on Sunday nights, we do cozier content here, whether it's a full-on like ASMR stream with like audio triggers and the like. Sometimes we do some hand cam stuff with like putting models together and stuff like that. And right now, with times like tonight, we're reading from a book. So fighting games, yeah. I play Grand Blue Fantasy versus Rising. I do play a little bit of Guilty Gear Strive also, although I'm not anywhere close to as good at that one. Thank you so much, Sophia and Rodent Which Lives Within Bin. I kind of love that name. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for the follows. But yeah, guys, please go check out Sophia Wolf. Thank you so much again for the support and for the raid. I am kind of speechless, actually. But yes, thank you so very, very much. If you need to raid and run, I completely understand. Please take care of yourselves post-stream. But if you do want to hang out and listen to some story time, you're more than welcome to be here. And I'm super, super happy to have you. Thank you again so much for the raid. I am still taking audio request redeems. We do have a channel points for them. There is my trigger list. You love story times? Fantastic. I will say, Sophia, if there is a particular request you'd like to make as a thank you for rating in, just let me know. Don't worry about channel points or anything like that, and I'll get that for you. For everybody else, if you guys do want to put in requests, you can. More than welcome to through the channel points, and I will get to them as quickly as I can. But I will primarily be trying to get to them in between chapters, or like good places to like break from the story. So you love yandere story times. We actually, there is a character that kind of verges on yandere in this series, but she doesn't show up for a while. But there are going to be some particularly, I guess, eerie moments in this. So, alrighty. Let me see here. Okay. But yeah, thank you again so very much. Thank you to everybody who followed. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you guys enjoy. I will get back to any channel point requests or chats in between chapters again. So, oops, hang on 1 second. There we are. Okay. Still, encountering it like this, it was more than I'd ever expected to find. That the station that wasn't supposed to exist had become a camp for a group of USFJ Marines. Walking through the unmanned ticket gates, past a waiting room with a few light blue benches, and then out of the small station building, there was a camp full of soldiers. When we were passing between olive green tents, a sentry greeted the lieutenant with a salute, but his eyes bugged out as he saw us. The smell of gasoline hung in the air. I heard the groan of a generator, so they likely had electricity, but the camp was still dark, and it looked like they were keeping light to a minimum. Those bulky silhouettes I saw beyond the row of tents, those were armored cars, huh? Past them, there was a wall made of sandbags, and on it they'd set up a ridiculously large machine gun. "Why are there no guards on the platform?" Toriko asked, looking back towards the ticket gate. "Because it's dangerous when a train comes." When a train comes? Toriko and I looked at one another. The lieutenant came to a stop in front of one tent. He turned to Greg, who was following behind us. "Sergeant Major, this is far enough. Let the men rest." "It's dangerous, Lieutenant. I can't trust them," Greg said so that we could hear him. The lieutenant sighed and shook his head. "Don't make me repeat myself, Sergeant Major." "Understood. Be careful, sir." "I know. Good work out there." Sergeant Major Greg saluted. Then he pointed to his eyes with two fingers before turning to them to point at us before he left. "I guess that meant I'm watching you." "Forgive my subordinate's rudeness. They're reaching their limits. It pains me to have to ask this of you, but try not to do anything to provoke them," the lieutenant said in a weary voice, then called inside the tent. "Major, I'm back. Come in." The lieutenant entered the tent, and we followed behind him. The man who was sitting at the table, writing something, looked up. He was a sharp-eyed man, and his dull blonde hair was neatly combed back. He stood bolt upright when he saw us. He was solidly built, and tall, too, and his head nearly brushed the top of the tent. "Lieutenant, who are these girls?" "Civilians we encountered on a return from our topographical survey, sir. They claim that, about an hour ago, they came to the other side from Tokyo." "Their entry point?" "Unclear. By the time they noticed, they were already here." "Do you have a rough location?" "I could make an estimate, but it's likely in the territory of the wild things. The Horned Man, Face Dogs, and the Walking Gallows were chasing them." The Major nodded. "Send a scouting team when the sun's up. You choose the members." "Got it. The place is full of bear traps, though." The Major looked at us. With his light-colored eyes fixed on me, I suddenly felt uncomfortable. "How did you two make it through a place so full of bear traps?" I struggled to find the words. The answer, of course, was because I could see what they were calling bear traps. But was it all right to tell them that? from the way Greg reacted before, it seemed reckless to speak too candidly. While I was still unable to find a safe answer to get us through this, the lieutenant spoke up unexpectedly. The girls were following the tracks. We haven't found any bear traps on the tracks so far. Before that... The lieutenant paused, looking at us questioningly. Toriko answered before I could. We were lucky. The major furrowed his brow. I think being here is bad enough luck in and of itself. Welcome, though. I'm Ray Barker, the current commander of this unit. Toriko and I gave our names, adding that we were just university students. University students from Tokyo, huh? It's becoming harder and harder to cling to the interpretation that we're just lost, wandering the mountains of Okinawa. If we wanted to be precise, the university I went to was in Saitama, not Tokyo, but I wasn't going to go out of my way to correct him. By current, you mean... We've lost a lot of men along the way here. No small number of them went mad or disappeared. The ones who had the worst of it were those whose bodies or psyche were influenced by a bear trap. Most were finished off by their own comrades, but some produced more casualties as they ran off into the wilderness. The major turned a weary look towards us. Are you girls all right? There's nothing wrong with your bodies. Before they noticed it, their bodies and hearts had been warped in strange ways. If something feels off, I'd prefer you say so now. Toriko and I shook our heads in unison. Nope. No, sir. The major looked closely at us, then nodded. I see. If any of the women in our unit were still alive, I'd want you to undergo an examination, but it seems I'll have to take you at your word. That's very gentlemanly of you. Suspicion crept into my voice. Something must have amused him, because wrinkles formed at the corners of the major's eyes. If we don't make an attempt to remain civilized, it would be all too easy for us to become animals out here. If that ever happened, all hope of escape would be lost. We never know when we'll follow our brothers into the wilderness. Even if we don't, if we can't escape from here, our reserves will run out and we'll starve. Or the wild things will break through our defenses and kill us. It'd be good if we could use the route you girls took. The lieutenant added. I saw you have armored cars. Can't you use those? Toriko asked. It's true, we have a number of RAPs, but not enough of the diesel they use as fuel. We had to prioritize the generator. Even if we did have enough diesel, though, now that we know the bear traps can transform vehicles, we can't use them carelessly, the major replied. So, basically, we're trapped in the middle of an invisible minefield, and we can't move out of the station as a result. The lieutenant summed up the situation in a self-mocking tone. The emotion in his sunken eyes was tinged with more exhaustion than hope. It made me think he might have already given up on escaping. There are no bear traps on the tracks, right? Why don't you all move down the line in search of an exit? We tried that, of course. I sent a whole platoon in each direction, but only one man returned. He was walking like he was going for a pleasant stroll, humming as he went, and diligently carving up his face with his own K-bar knife. His plain telling of that horrible scene made me wince. The major smiled a little. Let us provide you with an empty tent. I guarantee no one will come near you. You can relax. When morning comes, I would appreciate it if you would join the team that goes in search of your entry points. Okay. Got it. Oh, and one more thing, the major said as the lieutenant was showing us out. I would advise you not to use your phones. Chapter 7. Looks like I can use my phone. You've got bars, yeah. I looked at my phone in disbelief. The tent we were led to was a messy space with a simple bed, a table, and folding chairs. Trash from rations and crushed water bottles were scattered around, making the tent look more like a ruin. What had happened to the people who once slept here? We sat side by side on the simple bed, looking at our phones. Toriko was looking at my phone, even though she could have just tested her own. Just one bar. Oh, now it's 3. It's not stable, but it looks like we can get through. Hey, want to try making a call? To where? And who? Kazakura. Oh my gosh. Chrysanthemums! Hello! Welcome in, welcome in. Hello, readers. How's it going, Chris? What were you playing tonight? How were the games and demos that you were doing? Thank you for the check-in, Thad. I appreciate it. Hello. What were you doing tonight? I hope it was a great stream. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. If you are not familiar with me, my name is Sucrose Irishigaki Kumajo in training. I am a variety streamer. When I am not working on ASMR, or when I am not doing ASMR content, I mostly focus on retro style games, JRPGs, platformers, fighting games sometimes, a little bit of everything out there. And then on Sunday nights, we do cozier content here, whether that's cozy gaming or full-on ASMR streams or something like tonight, where we are reading a book. I am reading from a novel called Otherside Picnic, and we are on file number 3 currently, the 3rd story in it. Let me see here. A bunch of games you had fun and trauma bonded. Look, a cool bear. Hello, Spike Kirby. The usual. It's Pikachu. Thank you for the hydrate, by the way. I hope it went really well. It sounds like fun. You know, trauma bonding included. Guys, please check out Chris if you haven't already. She's awesome. Fellow variety streamer. Super, super cool. Lesser dragon lesbian. That's right? Lesser dragon is right, I think. Did I have that wrong? I hope I didn't get that wrong. Your old tagline. Oh no, I'm so sorry. I got it wrong. I'm sorry. You're gonna call her that from now on? Oh no. Look, I remembered something correct. It just was old. Oh geez, no. Yeah. What's your current tagline? I'm so sorry. I got that wrong. Oh no. Anyways. But no, seriously, go check out Chris. She's awesome. You just say Dragon Shinigami if you remember. Ah, I see. Okay, I'll keep that in mind for later. I'm sorry. That's just the one I remembered. It's a lizard. No. Dragon Shinigami. Okay. What was I saying? Oh, yes. Please go check out Chris. She's amazing. And also, Chris, if you and your raiders need to raid and run, I completely understand. Please take care of yourselves post-stream. But if you do want to hang out and listen to some story reading, some story time, you're more than welcome to be here, and I'm super happy to have you. I'm just an OG. Yeah, we've known each other for a bit now. Yeah. Kind of wild, actually. I remember, yeah, like, I think we met, like, fairly soon after. No, yeah, it was, because, like, I was still playing, I think, Paper Mario, and, like, that was, like, right after I debuted. Like, right after. So, yeah. Alrighty. But, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get back to the story. I will be answering chats and any channel point redeems in between chapters, or, you know, convenient places at story break. So, gonna do some post-stream care, but thank you absolutely. I hope you have a wonderful night, Chris. Thank you again so much for the raid. I really appreciate it. 30 days of sucrose, you never have a sugar deficit. Thank you for the 30 stream streak while running. That is amazing. Thank you so much. Okay. Chapter 7. Looks like I can use my phone. You've got bars, yeah. I looked at my phone in disbelief. The tent we were led to was a messy space with a simple bed, a table, and folding chairs. Trash from rations and crushed water bottles were scattered around, making the tent look more like a ruin. What had happened to the people who once slept here? We sat side by side on the simple bed, looking at our phones. Toriko was looking at my phone, even though she could have just tested her own. Just one bar. Oh, now it's 3. It's not stable, but it looks like we can get through. Hey, want to try making a call? To where? And who? Kazakura. Kazakura-san, huh? Kazakura was apparently a researcher of this world, so it was true she might be able to help. The thing was, I'd only met her once, so I had no sense for what she was like. I wasn't big on the idea. I don't know her number. You call, Toriko. The thing is, my display's all weird. When Toriko showed me her screen, I was surprised. The display was completely corrupted, and even the icon images were a mess. The first time I met Toriko, my smartphone got messed up after it took a dip in the water here in the other world. Toriko's screen looked like it had done just that, as the text was unreadable. Did a font like that even exist? Hey, Snowbird. Thank you for the lurk. You remember her number? Yeah, it's 090. After punching in the numbers as she said them, for lack of any better option, I heard a dialing sound mixed with static. Sounds like it's going through. Put it on speakerphone. The dialing sound echoed through the tent. Is this okay? The Major just told us not to use our phones. He was just acting. You know, acting. This isn't that kind of easygoing situation. He'll get mad at us for this. Neither one of us is his subordinates, so we should just do what we want. He didn't forbid it anyway. He just said, I would advise you not to. Well, sure, but there was a loud burst of static, cutting me off. Yes. Hello. Kazakura-san, is that you? Who is this? The curt reply flustered me. I'm, Kamakoshi. We met before. Do you remember... Oh, Sorabo-chan? Yes. I was relieved she hadn't forgotten me. When we met face to face, I was misled by her appearance as a small, thin girl who looked like she belonged in middle school, so it hadn't occurred to me at the time, but over the phone I realized Kazakura had a surprisingly deep voice. Was she still sitting in that poorly lit study, surrounded by the glow of her multi-monitor setup now? What is it? Did something happen to the other idiot? Kazakura asked irritably. I'm right here, Toriko interjected. Okay then. What do you want? Hold on. Where are you calling from? What is this noise? It's annoying. Sorry, I think the signal's bad. Tell whoever's behind you to pipe down. Huh? As I turned around to spite myself, we were the only ones in the deserted tent. And while I was confused, Kazakura pressed me. And... Kazakura, we're calling from the other side. Huh? That must have shocked her. You get a signal there? That's ridiculous. I know, right? But it's true, I said. So, listen, we wandered from the streets of Shinjuku to the other side. Get this, there's a military force here. The USFJ. Huh? Toriko, that doesn't tell her anything. This is Kisaragi Station. Do you know it? Of course you wouldn't know. Sorry, excuse me. Listen, you pair of nitwits. Talk so I can understand. With the noise occasionally cutting into the conversation, Toriko and I explained the situation. When we finished going through everything, Kazakura suspiciously asked, Pale Horse Battalion? That's who you said they were? Yes. Not Dark Horse. That's not what they said. So, is that a problem? If it were Dark Horse, I'd understand. They're a unit that tests next-generation equipment. I wouldn't be surprised to find them with a robot, and it seems they're actually deployed to Okinawa. But, at least as far as publicly available information goes, I'm not seeing the name Pale Horse. Which means... They're likely a secret unit, Kazakura said, lowering her voice. But they came right out and called themselves that. You may have been lied to. That, or they thought there was no risk you'd be leaking their secret. Huh? Are they going to erase us? No way. There's a number of peaceful ways to shut someone up. Or so I'd like to say. But from what you've told me, their nerves are badly frayed. If they find out about the changes in your bodies, they may be quick to pull the trigger. If you stay there... What should we do? If we're going to run, where do we run to? Away. Stay there. Kozakura's voice got lower. What did you just say? Won't let you get away, Kozakura said on the other side of the phone. My back broke out in goosebumps. I dropped my phone as I reflexively stood up. The little screen shone brightly in the canvas on the simple bed. Please. It's dangerous. Next stop, Kisaragi. Kozakura? Toriko asked in a whisper, putting a hand on my arm. We looked down at the screen together, getting closer to one another without realizing it. The train will be arriving soon. Please, remain standing behind the white line. Hurry up. The words coming out of the speaker were making less and less sense. The platform is the blue light of death. Looking at videos of dolphins. Do it. We will soon pass the threshold. It's the kind of monkey train common at kindergartens. An old man with a wire will be coming. Suddenly, there was a high-pitched metallic sound, making us jump. Clang, clang. There was a sound like a bell ringing, and it went on for a while. Next, there was a rumbling as the ground shook. When it seemed like it had stopped, the camp suddenly went into a frenzy. The sound of heavy boots running around, and rough English barked back and forth. The generator groaned, and there was a clattering sound. By the time I noticed it, the screen on my phone had gone dark. Hesitantly, I picked it up. The call had cut out. Had the conversation just now really happened? Sorabo. When I looked up, Toriko was standing there, looking bewildered. What do you think happened to Kozakura? She seemed more shaken up than usual. After a moment's hesitation, I realized why. Of course she would be. She'd known Kozakura longer than me. If someone like that started spouting nonsense all of a sudden, of course she would get worried. Toriko, let's just think about us for now, okay? When I said that, Toriko bit her lip and looked down. Yeah, but Kozakura, she... I get it. She's such a good girl. I felt like I was gradually coming to understand Toriko. She really cared about her friends. It wasn't just Satsuki-san. For Toriko, Kozakura was an important friend, too. Toriko. She wasn't heartless, like me. I chose my next words carefully. Toriko, you're worried about Kozakura, right? If we're gonna check on her, we'll need to get out of here first. We'll make it back to our original world together, okay? Okay, got it. Toriko nodded. Thanks, Sorabo. Sure. Then I heard footsteps outside the tent, and the door was pulled open. It was Lieutenant Drake. His eyes went to my smartphone, then back to our faces. He shook his head in resignation. This is why he told you you shouldn't use your phone. Huh? Before I could ask anything, the lieutenant continued. Don't leave the tent, please. There's a battle starting. You'll be safe here. Probably, at least. That was all he said, and then he left. While we were listening to his fading footsteps, we looked at the light leaking into the entrance. What now, Toriko? Let's go. We can't stay put here. I didn't even have to ask, huh? Pulling back the heavy tent flap, we stepped outside. Okay, I do see that, Spike Kirby. Let me go ahead and get that for you in between chapters here. Go, go. Go, 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 go. Go, 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 go. Go, 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 go. Go, go. Go, 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 go. Go, go. Go, go. Go, 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 go. Go, go, go. 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 There you go. I hope that was good. Chapter 8. In a tonal change from mere moments before, the camp was now bright as can be. There were powerful lights, like those used during the construction at night, lighting the area, making it as bright as if it were daytime. Have a good night, Fed. Thank you for stopping by. Sleep well. The sound of the generator running had gotten loud enough to be grating, however, and our plan to hide out in the shadows as we went had fallen apart the moment we set foot outside the tent. That being said, absolutely no one was paying attention to us. The Marines were gathered around the perimeter of the camp, looking out from behind the sandbags. They were all equipped with heavy guns. Even the big machine gun, which had just been a silhouette before, now had someone manning it. I saw a number of diagonal tubes with 2 legs for support. What were those? Toriko, what's that? A mortar, she replied. And the big machine gun? An M2, or something like that, I think. Why do you know so much about this stuff? This doesn't come close to knowing a lot. I just learned from my parents. And, hold on, you asked me, so you're being kind of rude. Huh? There's some new information. Toriko said nothing more as she continued to press forward. We found an unmanned jeep, and we climbed on top of it together. We crawled from the bonnet up onto the roof. From the higher vantage point, we could look out over the top of the sandbags. Outside, the camp was total darkness. If I squinted, I could make out the dark shadow of mountains on the line dividing the night sky from the grassy plains. In the endless night, this camp was a small island of light. From an amateur's perspective, it felt like being in the only well-lit area would be a disadvantage, but setting aside the issue of human-on-human battles, maybe bright areas were safer in this world. There were a lot of people, but no one spoke. Mixed in with the echoing drone of the generator, I suddenly noticed sounds that were out of place. Music? Toriko whispered. That was what it sounded like to me, too. Old court music? No, this was closer to festival music. There were gongs, drums, and an out-of-tune flute. Clanging, thumping, tooting. As I listened, I became less and less confident it was music. There was no melody, and the tempo was unstable. It was almost all dissonance. As the ominous festival music drew closer, a line of yellowish lights came into view. It was hard to judge distance, but it was sneaking its way down the mountain. It looked similar to a procession of people carrying candles down a mountain road, but something felt off. It was strangely fast. That wasn't human speed. Someone shouted an order. I could see the soldiers on the mortars loading shells into the tube. Shoop! There was a sound like a louder version of the one made when you opened a tube with a certificate in it, and smoke rose from the mortar. I don't know how many seconds later, but soon a bright red flame exploded in the darkness, followed by a delayed boom that shook my eardrums. They were small tubes, so I'd let my guard down, but the sound was surprisingly loud. The shell had come down from a fair distance ahead of the line of yellow lights. The lights played their warped music as they continued forward without slowing. More orders came from the camp, and this time 3 mortars fired in sequence. They may have been controlling their distance because of the points of impact for each were spread out forward and backward. One of them hit right next to the line of lights. The procession seemed to waver for a moment, but it quickly recovered and resumed its advance. Next, the M2 opened fire on them. The metallic sound of gunfire made me involuntarily cover my ears. The barrel spat orange fire, and a dotted red line stretched out, bouncing at the point of impact. In the middle of a cloud of dust illuminated by tracer rounds, the festival procession charged onwards. That's when I got my first detailed glimpse at the line. Faces. Again with the human faces. Those sunken eye sockets, those gaping hollow black mouths. Vaguely defined white faces which closely resembled the ones that had chased us before were stretched out in a vertical column, coming this way. It was like an old black and white photograph of an assembly had become a single large creature. I wasn't sure how to describe it. All of the faces were expressionless, and their outlines blurred. Even as it writhed and undulated under the continuous M2 fire, the horde of faces tenaciously closed in around the camp. Oh, we have another picture. So, that is the mass of faces, I guess, and Sorrow reacting to them. Oops. Actually, maybe I'll just keep it up for this page. There we go. Hang on. There we go. The soldiers screamed and fired their guns. Shouts, screams, and prayers came together in one horrible cacophony. Though their firing line was focused, with no breaks in it, It was unclear how much of an effect it was actually having. The procession of faces undulated like a great serpent, cutting across about 10 meters ahead of the camp. It was like it was showing them its myriad faces. Then, suddenly, it occurred to me. Perhaps its goal wasn't to attack the soldiers directly. It might have been aiming to terrify them with its faces and make them lose their sanity. I remembered feeling like I was going to go insane when we were being chased by beasts with human faces. What if the more you looked at that thing, the closer it brought you to madness? I was sure I hadn't yet seen the true nature of the thing yet. I focused my consciousness into my right eye. My head throbbed. Was it because I'd overused it getting past the glitches? I shut my eye tight, and when it opened, I felt as if my field of vision had suddenly become clearer, so I focused on the horde of faces once more. Those aren't faces at all, I realized. It was a pattern. What had looked like eyes and mouths were just black spots on a white background. It was the simulacra phenomenon. The human brain is programmed to recognize human faces. It's important we be able to detect other people's faces, so when we see 3 dots, we recognize them as a face. Most alleged spirit photos, the kind where a face is visible in the leaves or shadows, can be chalked up to this effect. It's like a bug in the brain, an illusion that's unavoidable by design. The thing that looked like faces weren't. There was no need to fear them as such, which was good. But what exactly was this thing that used black spots to invoke terror in humans? When I looked up, I thought I was going to go mad for an entirely different reason. Toriko? What's wrong, Sorobo? A cow. A cow? The creature, taken as a whole, looked more like a caterpillar than a snake. It was a bumpy mass that looked like an agglomeration of human faces and had countless stubby legs growing out of it. At the very top of its body, right in the middle, there was what looked like a ridiculously large cow head growing out of it. Oops, hang on, there we go. It was pitch black. It was a pitch-black bull with curved horns. Between the horns floated what looked like a circle formed by twisting straw rope, and a blue light radiated out from inside the ring. With me here, recognizing its true form, would the Marines' bullets actually hit it? Thinking they might, I watched the situation, but the soldiers were all being misled by the faces. Their bullets wouldn't reach the layer of reality I was seeing. Toriko, could I get you to shoot again? Sure thing. Give me a sec. Toriko looked around quickly before jumping down from the vehicle. I don't know if it was in preparation for being attacked or if they just hadn't been strictly managing them to begin with, but there were firearms left lying here and there around the camp. Without drawing attention, Toriko borrowed a gun and came back. It was a rifle with a rattling, noisy shape and a large scope attached. Sorry for the wait. What's that thing? I've never seen one like it before. It's an M14 ABR or something like that. Hey, if you're not going to understand what I tell you, you don't have to ask, you know? She had a point, but it was kind of interesting seeing Toriko come up with information I didn't know myself. So, where do I shoot? Above the massive faces, 3 meters or so. Gotcha. Toriko sat down on the roof of the Jeep, resting her elbows on raised knees as she assumed a firing posture. A moment later, she chuckled. What is it? I went and looked through the scope even though I'm trying to shoot something invisible. There was a song like that, wasn't there? Well, just give it a shot. Aye, aye. I'll shoot at random then. Oh, I could only stay sane in the situation thanks to Toriko. If I were alone by now... No, maybe the truth was, even with the 2 of us, we had long since gone nuts. No matter how I looked at it, this was no time to be cracking jokes. Toriko fired. A little lower. Toriko lowered the barrel, firing again. Well, am I hitting it? Looks like this isn't going to work. The bullets definitely looked like they were passing through the area where the bull's head was, but they were slipping by it. Why? Last time, I'd had Toriko aim at Shakusama's head. This time, as far as Toriko was concerned, the target I had designated was an empty space. That might be the difference. Did that mean perception could influence whether this was a hit or a miss? In that case, there was only one way left. Toriko, give me the gun. I'll take a shot at it. Hey! Oh, hey, what are you doing? There was shouting from the soldiers. Looking, I saw a face I remembered. It was Sergeant Major Gregg. He had noticed the gunfire from behind them, but I didn't have time to be concerned. Ignoring the calls to, "Get down from there immediately," I imitated Toriko and sat on the roof. "You know how to shoot?" "Help me," I responded as I took the heavy rifle from her. Toriko nodded and moved around behind me. Toriko fixed my form, which was an imitation of hers, from behind me. When I looked through the scope, my right eye captured the bull's head. "Support me." When I felt Toriko's hand on my shoulders, I pulled the trigger. The stock kicked into my shoulder. I felt like it was going to bowl me over, but Toriko braced me. The scope jerked away from my field of vision, but I didn't need to look anymore. Suddenly, it's like some sort of siren, the loud wail of a bull echoed through the area. Right after I saw the bull's head slump in my right eye, my left eye witnessed a massive number of people melting and screaming. In front of the Marine's eyes, a blue light that appeared, as if from nothing, flashed brilliantly, then shattered like glass. In the field where the guns had fallen silent, the once unending sound of gongs, drums, and flutes disappeared, as if it were being sucked away. What happened? With a bewildered look on his face, Lieutenant Drake pushed through his men to approach us. Sergeant Major Gregg shook his head repeatedly in disbelief. "Shit, what was that? Did you two do that? Seriously?" He stared in the direction where the monster had stood moments ago, cursing. It seemed he couldn't express his excitement. "How'd you do that, huh? Damn it, did I have the wrong idea about you two? If so, I'm sorry." There were tears on his cheeks when he turned towards us. Sergeant Major Gregg gazed up at me with a childlike smile. His face froze. What happened?" Toriko took a look at my face, and her voice raised in a panic. "Sorrow, your eye, it fell out." Shocked, I brought my hand to my face. Then I realized my right eye hadn't fallen out of its socket. The color contact had come loose. He'd seen my discolored blue pupil. "Are you with the monsters after all?" Sergeant Major Gregg asked slowly, his expression of joy having slowly vanished. "Sorrow, we're running." Toriko slid her butt from the roof down onto the bonnet, picking up momentum as she dropped to the ground. I hurried after her. Leaving the rifle behind, we made a mad dash out of there. "Wait! It's dangerous that way!" The lieutenant shouted a warning from behind us. "Don't go! The train will be coming soon!" Without having time to understand what he was saying, we dashed across the camp back towards the Kisaragi station. We raced through the unmanned ticket gate, and as soon as we got onto the platform, I heard that bell again. Dong, 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 dong. "It's a railway crossing," Toriko said, as if suddenly having a flash of insight. It wasn't a bell. This was the sound of a warning buzzer at a railway crossing. I saw a light on the tracks to our left, in the direction of Yami. The headlights of the train, which passed through the station that shouldn't exist, one even battle-hardened Marines wouldn't approach, were gradually getting larger. When I turned back and looked past the ticket gate, I could see that a group of Marines led by Sergeant Major Gregg were chasing after us. Would we have to run across the tracks to escape now? When I focused on my right eye, looking for glitches, I realized that the approaching train had a silver halo. In that haze, the train appeared as a double image. One, a rusty old train. The other, a newer, more familiar kind. "That's it! Toriko, that our way out's here." "You mean the train?" Toriko leaned out from the platform. "The surface world and the other world overlap there. If we ride it, probably we can get back." Looking at the approaching train, Toriko's eyes narrowed in doubt. "But it doesn't look like it's going to pass by the station." True, the train showed no sign of slowing. "Do you want to wait for the next one?" I asked. When Toriko turned to look at me, I firmly shook my head. "I kid. We have to ride it, Toriko." "How?" "Give me your hand." Having sensed something in the way I spoke, Toriko frowned. "You want to make me touch something weird again, don't you?" "I can't deny it." "I thought so." Despite her upset tone, Toriko took her gloves off. The translucent fingers on her left hand were exposed. The light of the approaching headlights was twisted through her fingers, releasing mysterious sparkles. "What do I do?" When I say now, grab what you're touching and pull on it as hard as you can, like you're trying to tear it apart. That silver haze was likely an interface where the two worlds made contact. If I could see it, then surely Toriko could touch it. I don't know. Is this dangerous? It's super dangerous, and the timing's gonna be tight, too. I'm not so sure anymore. I held hands with Toriko, my left hand in Toriko's right. Her palm, with the glove now taken off, was sweaty. The train was almost here. Acting like it was no big deal, I smiled at her. We'll manage somehow. There's two of us. Toriko blinked in surprise, shutting her mouth. Hey, that's my... Here we go. What? Pulling Toriko by the hand, I jumped, thrusting us towards the oncoming train. In the headlights, our silhouettes stretched down the tracks. With the rumble of its wheels on the rails, the train was getting closer to us. This is scary. Really scary. I could see Toriko floating in midair out of the corner of my eye, her eyes shut tight. I wish I could shut mine too, but that wasn't an option. I needed to watch until the very last moment. If I closed my eyes, we'd both be run over and die. I shouted, "Now!" I grabbed Toriko's left hand, swinging with all my might. I saw the curtain between the two worlds torn open. As we were sucked into the rift we had forced open, the train continued past Kisaraki Station. Ugh! I groaned at the shock of being thrown to the floor. I lay on my side, hyperventilating. Looking beside me, Toriko was nervously about to open her eyes. We're alive. Though I was a bit out of it, I slowly got up. The moment I did, I witnessed a scene that made every hair of my body stand on end, and I instantly covered Toriko's eyes. Whoa! Hold on! What are you... No, you can't look yet, I told her in a quivering voice. There were still two overlapping scenes in the car. One of them was the problem. In an old passenger car, I'm not sure from what era, there were a number of passengers sitting in silence. I saw some were in marine uniforms, too. On the far end, a group of ape-like creatures covered in dark black fur were using pliers, knives, and electrical tools to brutally kill the passengers. There were a number of victims already, and the walls and floors glistened with blood and entrails. Once they dismembered one person, the apes would mercilessly go to work on their next victim. They must have known danger was approaching, but for some reason the passengers didn't move, or so much as say a word. The scene itself was horrifyingly ominous, and I nearly screamed just looking at it. It was like fingernails digging directly into the region of the brain that governs fear. I hadn't thought much before I covered Toriko's eyes, but I was glad I'd done so. I was the only one who had to see these awful things. Toriko couldn't look at this. Oh, I see. This must have been what the Marines were afraid of. The horrifying scene inside the train that had passed through the station. They were afraid this train would stop there and open its doors. The blood-covered apes looked our way and bared their teeth. The scene inside the car gradually grew faint. Had we finally gotten out of the other world? No, that wasn't it. I was losing consciousness. Chapter 9. When I came to, I was inside a noisy train, crouching down. There was a warm, soft feeling against my back. It's okay. It's okay, Sorabo. We're already back, Toriko said close to my ear. I'm here. It's okay. We're together. I slowly looked up. Gradually, I figured out the situation. I was cowering as I clutched the metal bar next to the car door, and Toriko was hugging me from behind. Hesitantly, I turned around. Toriko's face was right there. Not seeming to notice her loose hair hanging over her pretty face, she looked back at me with a relieved smile. Where is this? When I looked past Toriko, I saw the exhausted-looking passengers had furrowed their brows in irritation, keeping their distance from us. We made it back. As that sunk in, the tension in my body slipped away. If I hadn't been clutching that pole for support, I'd have landed on my rear end. Toriko was supporting me, so I somehow managed to avoid falling over. Sorabo, thank goodness. Toriko touched my face, using her right hand with the glove off. When she wiped below my eye, I realized for the first time that my cheeks were wet. The next stop is Shakuji Koen Station. The doors on the right will open. the speakers on the train announced. It was the closest station to Kozukura's house. Can you stand? Toriko asked, and I nodded. I'm fine. I can walk by myself. Now that we'd at least made it back from the other world, the next matter of concern was Kozukura. As I remembered that creepy conversation we'd had over the phone, strength returned to my still shaky legs. We got off the train and walked to Kozukura's mansion from there. Opening the door and letting ourselves in, Toriko rushed deeper inside. Too impatient to take my shoes off first, I followed her. Once she'd opened the door at Kozukura's room with force, we stopped there and stood at the entrance. What? Surrounded by a large quantity of books and trash, Kozukura looked back at us irritably from where she sat, facing her desk. The cold light of her multi-display setup, the mug full of hot cola sitting on her coaster. Nothing much had changed since last time I had met her. Are you all right? How so? You were saying some strange things. Huh? Toriko questioned her in bewilderment, while Kozukura glared at her suspiciously. What are you talking about? Are you okay? Have you been doing drugs? Unable to bear any more of this, I interjected. We just spoke on the phone, right? The phone? That was you? Playing strange pranks. Pranks? Hey, don't tell me you don't remember. I hope you haven't been doing strange stuff too now, Sarawa-chan. When Kozukura picked up her smartphone off the desk and played with it a bit, an audio recording began to play. Load the tracks back. We can just see the plains and the mountains. They're our lifeline. Error. Trap. It might have been safer. There were a lot of problems. I got scared and apologized. How do you know it's Grandpa when he only has one leg? Incomprehensible babbling. This is the end. Stormy, hello. Give me 1 second. I'm almost done with this file. It was hard to make out through the static, but the ones taking turns speaking nonsense were definitely me and Toriko. Is this a conversation? Kozukura asked. Unable to say anything back, Toriko and I looked at one another in a daze. Having fallen silent, all we heard in our ears was the sound of a train off in the distance. Hello, Stormy. How was your stream? Welcome in, welcome in. How's it going? How was Metroid Prime? I hope you had a good stream. Thank you so much again for the raid. Hello, everybody who came in with Stormy's raid. If you are not familiar with me, my name is Sucrose Shigeki, Kumajo in training. I am a variety streamer. When I'm not doing ASMR content, I am mostly focused on retro-style games, JRPGs, platformers, Metroidvanias, all that kind of stuff. And then on Sunday nights, we do cozier content here, whether that's full ASMR streams or cozy games or something like tonight where we are reading from a book. Nostalgic as heck. I bet. But yes, thank you again for the raid. We are reading from a light novel called Otherside Picnic, and we just finished file 3. Okay. I am realizing that we may... I was planning on reading both file 3 and file 4, but I'm realizing how long file 3 actually was. I'm trying to see how long file 4 is in comparison. We might be able to. Hang on. This was what? It was page 69 that it started on. Nice. And ended on page 110. So that was 41 pages. File 2. Is 60 pages. Ooh, okay. So, yeah, we will not be anywhere close to done with that by the time we hit midnight. I'm not sure if I start on this anyways, I might still. Game came out when you were 12. Oh my gosh, that's wild. But yeah, if you want to hang out and watch and listen to me read more of the story, you're more than welcome to be here, and I'm super happy to have you. However, if you do need to raid and run, I completely understand. Please take care of yourself post-stream. But thank you again so much, Stormy, for the raid. I really do appreciate it, guys. Please go check out Stormy Shirakuma. He is a fellow bear VTuber and super, super cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and see how far we get in the next hour. Because if we can make it through this file, I think I would like to try to. But if we have to find an ending point, I can just make note of where that was. So, Stormy, if you have a particular like ASMR trigger you particularly enjoy, please let me know. Don't worry about channel points or anything like that. I can just get that for you. I'm not sure how much you are an ASMR enjoyer, but as thank you for the raid, I'm happy to do a trigger for you. I am going to get to redeems and answer chats and stuff as best as I can in between chapters. So let me know if there's anything you want, and I will do my best to get it for you as soon as I can. Ada Ada? Okay, I can do an Ada Ada. Stormy. Ada Ada. Ada Ada. Ada Ada. You enjoy ASMR as long as it's not eating ASMR. I understand. I have done eating stuff before, but it's not typically my go-to. So, currently not doing that. So, yeah. Ada Ada. Ada Ada. Here, hang on. I can do this. Ada Ada. Ada Ada. Ada Ada. Ada Ada. Okay, there we go. All right. File 4. Time, Space, and a Middle-Aged Man. Chapter 1. We were standing in the middle of a field in the other world. It was close to the end of June. Oh my gosh. Catch up. Oh my goodness. Welcome in, Raiders. Hello, Catch Up. How's it going? How was your ASMR stream? I hope it went well. I will do the introduction really quick here one more time. Hello, everybody who came in with Catch Up's raid. If you're not familiar with me, my name is Sucrose Shigaki Kumasho in training. I am a variety streamer, and I mostly focus on retro style stuff when I'm not doing ASMR. Sunday nights we do cozier content here though. Tonight we are reading from a light novel called Otherside Picnic. We are just about to start on file number 4, which is a story called Time, Space, and a Middle-Aged Man. But yes, thank you, Catch Up. Hello, Caparian Soul. Hello, Catch Up. I hope your stream was very, very good. I do have a fairly lengthy story to read here, though, that I want to try to get done before the end of the stream, so I'm going to get back to it relatively quickly here, though. But what I will say is that if you have a request for ASMR, let me know in the chat. Catch Up, as thank you for the raid. I will get to that as soon as I can in between chapters. And everybody else who came in, I do have channel point redeems for ASMR triggers if you want to use them. There they are. Stream went well. You got your monthly quota of dead card games ranting tonight. I see. I will try to get to answering any chat messages or any redeems in between chapters as best as I can. Some smooches. I can do that for you real quick before we start, yeah. Okay, here we go, Catch Up. catch up. I hope that was good. Okay, let me see here. File 4. Time, Space, and a Middle-Aged Man. Chapter 1. We were standing in the middle of a field in the other world. It was close to the end of June in the surface world we'd left behind. Did the seasons affect this place too? From the moment we were sucked into the other world, I was surprised by how humid it was. The air was clearly heavier than it had ever been before. Though that heaviness in the air might have been more than just the humidity. There was an awkwardness hanging in the air between us, too. In a situation like this, where two people who didn't know each other very well were forced to work together, that was probably inevitable. Though, this time, it wasn't Toriko at my side. It was Kazakura. The diminutive woman who called herself a researcher of the other world glared, with an expression that did nothing to hide her displeasure, at the unknown world which spread out before our eyes. Hesitantly, I opened my mouth. Where should we start looking? There was no answer. Kazakura-san? Aren't you the one who'd know the places she's most likely to go, Sorawa-chan? I don't know either. Huh? What are we gonna do then? For lack of a better option, look around at random, I mumbled. Kazakura irritably shook her head. Honestly, that idiot. Kazakura spat the words with contempt. Getting me wrapped up in this nonsense, too. I'll kill her. Good idea, I muttered. I felt much the same as Kazakura right about now. She was dead. So dead. When I find her, she's going to get it. How dare she up and disappear like this? It was roughly 3 weeks after we returned from Kisaragi Station, on the 24th of May, that Toriko had vanished. A few days before, we'd had a fight. We were in the cafe behind the Junkudo bookstore in Ikebukuro, where we'd gone after a meetup. Toriko was enthusiastically trying to discuss plans for our next expedition when I spoke up. Look, Toriko, maybe reconsider. This is a bad way of handling it. We are so going to end up dead one of these days. Both of us. For Toriko, who was searching for her friend, Satsuki-san, she wanted to decide on a date for our next trip immediately. Honestly, I was burned out. Between the Kunekune, Hoshaku-sama, and Kisaragi Station, I'd been through a lot of bizarre encounters in a short succession, and all of them had been so scary I could have died. I figured I had to have been within my rights to say, hey, I need a timeout. Well, do you have a better way? The afternoon sun that streamed through the window made her golden locks shine. Toriko narrowed her eyes at me, as beautiful as one of the fairies that deceive people and take them away. Sorawa? Right. I shook my head. I'd met her several times now, so it was about time I got used to it. Trying to get myself back on track, I reached for my drink. Our meeting that day was supposed to be an after-party, too. The table was covered with all the dishes Toriko had, yet again, ordered without thinking what would happen. There was taco rice, chocolate and sour cherry cake, matcha terrine, and a Japanese tart topped with lots of raspberries. As for drinks, Toriko had a cafe latte, while I had ordered grape tea. I think at this point, I could say that the way that Toriko went about ordering was weird and wrong. She could have at least waited to finish the taco rice before ordering the cake. If you had a better way, I'd be all ears. But you don't. We have to keep working at it, slow and steady. I never thought I'd hear the word slow and steady coming out of your mouth, Toriko. Huh? I think I've been taking it slow and steady all this time, Toriko said, as if hurt. She'd been taking it wild and reckless, though, hadn't she? Well, whatever. If you say so, Toriko. Still, even if we're going to search for Satsuki-san, we have no leads, right? Don't you think this is all a little haphazardly laid out? Toriko averted her eyes. But... No buts. I get that you want to find Satsuki-san as soon as possible, but don't you think we need to search properly if we want to do that? I do think what you're saying is right, Sorawa, but there's no time. Even as we're talking, Satsuki could be in danger. Even as we're talking, huh? I looked around the cafe. It was the afternoon, and many of the patrons were students from the nearby university. They were studying, reading, chatting, or having fun in their own ways. To the casual onlooker, we'd probably look like part of the group. Once they saw the mound of cakes and tea bearing the table, no amount of excuses would convince them otherwise. Us, going into a dangerous place to save a friend who'd been stranded there? Surely you jest. Toriko could be such a mess of contradictions. Despite all her rush to search for Satsuki, she still wanted to hold after-parties, too. It was so careless. But just when you thought she might not be serious, she turned around and displayed an incredible show of guts. I had felt like I was starting to understand Toriko after our third trip to the other world, but on further thought, no, I didn't get her that well after all. Toriko went on, "Besides, we can't leave them there." Huh? For a moment, I honestly didn't understand what Toriko was talking about. Those guys, the ones isolated at Kisaragi Station, if someone doesn't save them, they're all going to die. Oh, the soldiers. Sure. Yeah, I guess you're right, huh? I'd completely forgotten about the U.S. soldiers at Kisaragi Station. It was true, they probably couldn't hold out for long. I know my head was full of my own problems, but still, for me to be able to leave people who I'd talked to behind in that situation and then think nothing of it made me pretty awful. But, not to make excuses, but they'd treated us like monsters. The only ones we'd even been able to communicate with were that curly-haired lieutenant and the sergeant major, right? You were that concerned about them, Toriko? I'm surprised. Why? You were acting more curt than usual with them. I thought you were pretty wary of them. I mean, they were agitated, and I didn't know when they might open fire. And you want to save the guys who came close to shooting us? Being in that place would mess anyone up. Personally, if we can save them, I want to find a way to do it. Do you disagree? Toriko's earnest words hit me hard, and I struggled to breathe. It was like I'd been looking for excuses to leave them for dead, wasn't it? Though, call me cruel and unhuman if you like, but I didn't want to take risks I didn't have to just because I got emotional. It was our own lives and sanity we'd be putting on the line here. Toriko, just now, you said it would mess anyone up, but the fact is, it's already been messing us up. You remember the phone call with Kozakura-san? When I thought back to that, I couldn't help but feel uneasy. When we listened to the recording of the call we'd made from Kisaragi Station to Kazakura in the surface world, it was complete and utter nonsense. That meant Toriko and I had, without realizing it, been speaking bizarre words into the phone for an extended period of time. I had heard before that the person who goes insane doesn't recognize the wrongness of their own words and actions. There were all kinds of insanity, and you couldn't wrap everything under that one term, but it felt pretty apt to me here. We weren't just starting to get messed up. We might already be in a seriously bad state at this very moment. Yeah, but it was just that one time. We're fine now, so... Toriko's rebuttal seemed less than confident. No one can remain completely calm after learning they'd lost control of their own actions. Being as underhanded as I was, I decided to turn the knife. It's not just you, Toriko. During the call, Kozakura-san got all messed up too. When Kozakura had started saying strange things on the receiver, Toriko and I had been really unnerved. We only thought we heard that. Kozakura's voice wasn't on the recording, so... It's true that only our voices were on the recording, Toriko, but don't you think that's strange? If we were saying strange things to Kozakura-san, why would she stay quiet and listen the whole time? Toriko's eyes went wide. I continued. We don't know what happens when the other world and the surface world are connected by a phone call. It's true that in the surface world, Kozakura's smartphone only recorded the bizarre things we were saying, but it's also possible that if we were recording in the other world, it would have picked up the bizarre things Kozakura-san said. That's just your imagination, though, right? You have no basis for it. What I'm trying to say is the other world is having a negative influence on people, both on us and on Kozakura-san, too. But researching the other world is Kozakura-san's job. So if it's her job, that makes it okay if it messes up her head? It's not fair to say it like that, Toriko glared at me. You were happy, weren't you, Sorowo? You want money, don't you? Well, yeah, of course I do, but it won't do me any good if I'm dead. I hesitated a moment, then continued. You must realize, right, Toriko? Realize what? About Satsuki-san. How many months has it been since you said she vanished? 3? Or was it more? Toriko didn't answer. The silence became oppressive, so I went on. She's been in that crazy world for 3 months, and there's been no word? There's no way you don't know what that means, Toriko. We've both seen it. The bodies of those killed by the Kunekune, the way old man Aberado disappeared, the U.S. soldiers dying off gradually. It hurts to say this, but... I knew I was treading on dangerous ground here, but once I opened my mouth, I knew I couldn't close it. Satsuki-san's not alive anymore. There was silence. Toriko's shapely lips drew into a firm line, her eyes cast downwards. I'd gone and said it. I'd been thinking it all along, and I'd known I'd end up saying it someday. Still, now that I had a shocked Toriko in front of me, I couldn't suppress the sense of guilt. I may have said too much, but she's alive, Toriko said definitively, cutting me off just as I started to spout what sounded like an excuse. Caught by surprise, I blinked. Satsuki is alive. No question. Huh? How can you... It wouldn't be like her to die there. She was so full of confidence, I couldn't say another word. Just what kind of person was Satsuki-san to inspire this level of trust? At the very least, I was certain she was nothing like me. Satsuki is special to me. Please, help. If you want, I'll give you my share of the money too. Huh? I was dumbfounded for a moment, but then the blood rushed to my head. You're saying something like that, Toriko? You think I'm hesitating because my share's not large enough? Don't you need money? That's not it. I raised my voice in anger. I get that Satsuki-san is really important to you, but she's not to me. I've never met her or even talked to her. You're telling me to risk my life for someone like that? Toriko's eyes widened in a way I'd never seen before, and she stared at me. We looked at one another through the steam of her latte. Oh. Yeah. I get it. Toriko whispered, then looked away. Standing, she retrieved her bag from the bin under the table meant for holding it. Sorry. It seems I misunderstood. Oh, hold on. Toriko. I'll manage the rest by myself somehow. Thanks. Toriko! Ignoring me as I called after her, Toriko left the cafe. Ugh. I leaned back in my chair, sighing. Not only was I underhanded, I was a gutless coward, too. This is what I really wanted to say. I'm scared, and I don't want my head to get messed up any worse. Let's stop. But I couldn't, because if I did, I was sure I'd disappoint her. What Toriko needed was a partner who could explore the other side with her, not some frightened baggage that would only weigh her down. That's why I'd said it in a roundabout way, and in the end, I still ended up disappointing her. What was I even doing? I sat there, with a mountain of barely touched cakes in front of me, at a loss for what to do. I think it's a bit much to expect me to eat all this by myself, you know? I muttered, glaring at the empty seat in front of me. Okay, sorry. Just checking. There we go. Wait a second. Oh, wow. Why did that go that far back? I accidentally turned way too far back in the book. Okay, there we go. Chapter 2. Did you two have a fight or something? That was the first thing Kozakura said when she picked up the phone, and I struggled to find my next words. Why do you say that? She came to my place alone the other day. Normally, she's as noisy as a child in elementary school, and it's annoying, but this time she was so lifeless it was annoying in another way. Could you leave me out of your little lover's quarrel? It's a nuisance. Sorry. I apologized despite myself, but then got indignant. What was she calling a lover's quarrel? When was that? 3 days ago. I see. How long has it been since you were last in contact? 5 days. I guess that means she was more fragile than you, huh? Well, not that me knowing that does me any good. What do you mean? You two fight and can't apologize, but neither of you has the guts to contact the other, so you make a call to me, a mutual acquaintance, looking for an excuse to talk. For Toriko, it took 2 days, but for you, it took 5. I heard Kozakura snort on the other side of the phone. I'll have you know, I did at least try to contact her, but I got no response. Ugh, what a nuisance. It's a nuisance that you're both so pathetic. Ugh, I groaned. Kozakura went on as if this was all such a bother. Do you want her personal information? What? The address of Toriko's house. Why not try going in person? I didn't hesitate for long. Please, I want her info. I'll send it over. Sorry for the trouble. Don't thank me. Just send me gifts for Oban in summer. The address I got from Kozakura was for an apartment building in Nippori. It was the top floor of a 4-story building, and she apparently lived alone. I headed out the next morning. It wasn't a particularly new building, but it still looked expensive. I hated that my reflexive reaction was, Little Miss Moneybags sure lives in a nice place, doesn't she? I hit a bit of a stumbling block when the automated door at the entrance wouldn't open. It took me a good 5 minutes to realize that there was a panel with a number pad, and this was one of those places where you had to dial a room number and have a resident buzz you in. I'd been thinking I could just go up to her front door and press the doorbell, so this really killed my momentum. After glaring at the panel for a while, I found the resolve to reach out and press the buttons. 404. That should have made the bell ring in Toriko's room. I stood there, feeling antsy, and there was static from the speaker. Yes? Toriko, it's me. Yes? It's Kamakoshi. Yes. No, yes is not what you say there. I suppressed my irritation at her curt response and said, Sorry to show up out of nowhere. I got your address from Kazakura-san. Can I come in for a moment? The speaker said nothing more, then it cut out with more static. At the same time, the door to the entrance hall opened. What was her problem? Couldn't she say a bit more than that? Fuming silently to myself, I entered the apartment building. I got in the elevator and pressed the 4th floor button. It arrived as I was idly looking at the notice posted on the wall about the water storage tank being cleaned. Room 404 was at the end of the corridor on the 4th floor. I walked down the quiet hall. On the other side of a chest-high wall, I could see the street spread out below. Under the clear skies, people and cars went up and down the hill road that went to the station. It was noon on a weekend, so the area was pretty lively. I could make out the announcements from the station and the sounds of trains driving past. Ever since I started going to the other side, there were moments like this, where the sounds of human habitation, which once would have irked me, instead made me feel incredibly calm. Before, I'd have thought, ugh, what a racket, I hope they all die. I still thought that sometimes now, but I could tell I had mellowed out compared to how I was in my thorny high school days. That was in part because I'd experienced the terror of silence in the other world, and in part, frustrating as it was to admit this, because I had met Toriko. Standing in front of room 404, I looked into the peephole on the door. Okay, Toriko, I'm here to make up. Now give up and get out here. When I pushed the doorbell, I heard bumping noises from inside. I don't know what she's panicking for now. As I smiled at the way that even the easygoing Toriko could get flustered if you suddenly turned up at her door, the footsteps got more intense. The thudding made it sound like she was running in circles around the house. Okay, she was panicking a bit too much. Toriko? You can take it easy, you know? When I called out through the door, the footsteps stopped for a moment, then rapidly came closer. Bam, 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 bam. What? I was shocked by the sound of footsteps racing towards the door. As I leaned back reflexively, the door did not open. The footsteps made it sound like she had charged in at top speed, but now all was quiet. Toriko? As I held my chest to quell my racing heart, I called out to her in a hoarse voice. There was no response. If I were to judge by sound alone, she had to be standing right on the other side of the door, though. No, maybe she had collapsed there? I grew a little concerned and reached for the door handle. It moved. It wasn't locked. Toriko, are you okay? I'm opening the door. As I said that, I turned the handle downward and pulled. Hesitantly, I peered inside through the gap and gasped out loud. The other side of the door was filled with a blue light, blue and opaque. I lost my sense of distance, and it felt as if the blue might suck me in. Beyond it, there was this unknown shining. Struck with the fear that the shimmering light, which resembled the way the sun looked when seen from underwater, was gradually getting closer, I reflexively shut the door. I backed away 1 step, then 2, never taking my eyes off the door. There was no doubt about it, it was that blue, the one I'd seen the day I first met Toriko in the abandoned building in Umiya. The light I had seen beyond the torii-shaped construct that disguised itself as Shakusama, and the light above the blue monster we encountered at Kisaragi Station. They were both the same blue. I stiffened for a moment, convinced the blue light would break down the unlocked door and come spilling out, but there was no sign of movement, and there was no sound. It's just like the abandoned building in Umiya. That time, we'd been surprised by the knocking at the door, and when we looked through the peephole, there was this world of blue. If this was the same pattern as that, the next time I opened the door, it might have returned to normal. I reached for the door handle one more time and slowly opened it. On the other side, it was still blue. Seriously? I mumbled to myself in disbelief as I slowly closed the door. Why was Toriko's room filled with an otherworldly blue? And what had happened to Toriko? Was she in there? Or had she gone somewhere else, like Aberrado? My legs had started to quake. I didn't know what to do. When I took a deep breath, trying to calm myself, I looked outside of the corridor and noticed something odd. It was too quiet. I didn't hear the sound of running trains, which I'd been able to hear until not that long ago. I put my hand on the wall and looked around outside. There were no people walking by, and no cars to be seen. Hold on. My whisper faded vainly into the air. Struck by an intense feeling of unease, I broke into a run. When I pressed the call button for the elevator, thank goodness it worked. Too frustrated to wait, I got in the elevator that came and pressed the button for the first floor. I pounded that button repeatedly. The door slowly closed. In the elevator going down, my eyes happened to stop on the piece of paper posted there. Notice of cleaning for the water tank. Dear residents, due to the repeated complaints of hair coming out of people's faucets, there was an investigation. The disappearance of the person in charge delayed our response, but a source of hair was found inside the tank, and the appropriate measures will be taken. We apologize for this. Was this written here last time I looked? Before I could process the feeling of wrongness that was rising inside me, the elevator reached the first floor. I rushed through the entrance hall and left the apartment building. I stood in the middle of the road, looking both ways. Nobody was there. For as far as I could see, I was the only thing moving. The city was covered in a terrifying silence reminiscent of the other side. It was like I was the only one alive in the whole world. I stood there, as if frozen, when suddenly my smartphone rang. I was so shocked I jumped into the air. Digging through my bag, I hastily pulled out my phone. Was it Toriko? Or Kozukura? I didn't care who. If I could just hear a voice other than my own, I'd feel relieved. However, when I looked at the screen, it made me furrow my brow even more. The caller ID was complete gibberish. More text corruption? Ever since I'd gotten immersed in the water of the other world, this smartphone was acting kind of weird. It was supposed to have been repaired, though. Regardless, I pressed the talk icon and answered the phone. Yes? Ah, there you are. Yes? It was an unfamiliar male voice. As I stood there in bewilderment, the man spoke my name. Zoro Kamakoshi, right? Yes, I responded without meaning to, then regretted it. Uh-oh, that was careless. As I became wary, too late, the man continued speaking in a worried tone. Oh, I'll be right there. Stay right where you are. By the time I was able to ask, who are you? The call had already been terminated. Then, from behind me, I heard a voice. Yes, that's right. I found her. I'll deal with it immediately. When I turned around, a man wearing working clothes that were somewhere between gray and blue was trudging down the road towards me. It was a middle-aged guy I didn't know. I could see a mark like a windmill or a flower on his uniform. Walking up to me, I felt a threat to my continued well-being and was getting ready to run. The man let out an irritated sigh. You can't do this. Give up on that girl and go home. Huh? If you don't, next time, you won't be able to go back. The man spoke in a threatening tone, and the next moment I heard the sound of a horn. I screamed and pulled back as a car scraped past me. The next thing I knew, the sounds of the bustling city had returned. The people walking by had looked suspiciously at me for having walked out into the road. I'm back? Fighting the urge to collapse in relief, I fled back to the sidewalk. While I was clinging to a telephone pole and catching my breath, it finally came to me. The internet ghost story known as the Space-Time Man. Chapter 3. Here's how the stories about the Space-Time Man went. The person experiencing the story would suddenly wander into a world where there was no one else. At school, on their way to work, or in some other place they were used to being, they would suddenly realize everyone else had vanished. There, in a place where they were the only person around, the person experiencing the story would encounter a middle-aged man. The man wore work clothes, often the kind that would make you think he was a janitor, and he would be surprised to see the person experiencing the story. He would get unreasonably mad, saying things like, "What are you doing here?" and "Hurry up and get out," or giving incomprehensible warnings, and then suddenly, the person experiencing the story would notice they'd returned to their original world. There were a number of variations in the details, but the fundamental flow of events matched what I had just experienced. This story, like Kisaragi Station, belonged to the wandered into another world genre of ghost stories. The man was watching out for intruders into another world. That he was a guard who sent back for those who wandered in unintentionally. Or perhaps a member of some organization of watchers was a common interpretation. I ground my teeth in frustration. I should have looked more closely. Maybe it would be better if I didn't wear the contact in my right eye after all. When I put in the color contact, it limited my eye's ability, making it hard to use it on the spur of the moment. But it made me stand out too much without it. Hold on. The reason Toriko's room had ended up like that might have been because I'd unwittingly wandered into another world at some point. Into the man's world, which looked like the surface world, only without people. The note posted in the elevator had been strange too. The creepy things written there just weren't possible. Even if someone had died in the building's water tank, they'd have worded it more delicately. I remembered how last time, when we were leaving the tavern, when we had our after party, there was already an unsettling feeling in the air. If we'd slowly moved into the other world from the surface world, without using a clearly defined entrance, we might pass through a transitory zone between the two worlds. The boundary between the sane and the insane, where the staff of the tavern went crazy, dogs barked in the kitchen, people vanished from the city, and postings became nonsensical. I could hypothesize that that had been the man's world. If so, then, now that I was out of there, is it possible Toriko's room had returned to normal? Tearing myself away from the telephone pole I'd been clinging to, I raced back to the apartment. There, I rushed to the panel at the entrance and dialed 404. No response. Uh-oh. If someone didn't disable the lock from inside, the automatic door at the entrance wouldn't open. Could I wait for another resident to enter, then sneak in behind them? If I waited patiently, I might be able to get in, but given I was concerned about Toriko's situation right about now, I couldn't wait around. When, for lack of other options, I pulled out my phone to try calling Toriko one more time, I noticed I had gotten a number of messages at one point. The sender was... me. Me? Unable to figure out what was going on, I opened the messages. There was no text. It looked like I'd just sent images. They were pictures of Toriko. There was a shot of her entering that building in Jimbusho, taken from behind. She wore her army surplus jacket, a pair of jeans and lace-up boots. There was a cap on her head, and she was carrying the kind of backpack you might take when going mountain climbing. She was clearly geared up for an expedition to the other world. There were 4 pictures, taken from different angles. The way they were out of focus, slightly at an angle, and had some digital noise in them, made it look like they were taken surreptitiously. The last of them was taken from almost right in front of Toriko, but there was no signs of her noticing. The timestamps on the photo were from just 10 minutes ago, right when I was panicking up on the 4th floor. Naturally, I had no memory of taking any of these. Moreover, it said I'd received them yesterday, at the same time I was talking to Kozakura on the phone. What is this? The times and places make no sense. Here I was, at the entrance to an apartment building where other people lived, but shouting out loud despite myself. I know I wouldn't be able to complain if someone got mad at me for it, but this was just too incomprehensible. The events were creepy when taken alone, but when they occurred in sequence like this, my frustration at the unfairness of it all won out. Okay, calm down. Let's sort all this out. I went outside the apartment and looked up at the 4th floor. Let's see. I called Toriko from the front entrance. There was a response, and then the automatic door opened. Then, when I went to Toriko's room, it was full of blue light. When I moved away from the room, the world got all messed up. Either that, or I entered the man's world. After that, I got a call from the space-time man and was returned to my original world. During that time, Toriko was heading to the other world from Jimbusho, a long way from here, and someone sent me pictures of her. What is this? I unconsciously clutched my head. None of the pieces fit together. Each individual event progressed on its own, so there was no way to sort it all out. Still, if the photos were to be believed, I knew where Toriko was. She'd gone to the other world, searching for Satsuki-san. Was it okay to leave her alone? Toriko couldn't see glitches, but she had to be more used to the other world than I was. She'd apparently been there with Satsuki-san, and I knew for a fact there'd been several times where before she ever met me. She had a hand that could grab substances from the other world now, too. If she's pining for Satsuki-san that badly, and she's just fine without me, then let her do what she wants, was the thought that passed through my head. But then, I realized something unpleasant. It was the 3rd photo, taken from an angle diagonally down and to the left of Toriko, in the dimly lit hall of the building. In the corner of it, I could see someone's reflection. The blood drained from my face. That figure, with the hood of her parka pulled low over her face, was me. In the shadow of her hood was the glint of my lapis lazuli right eye. My expression as I looked at Toriko was warped and ugly, as if revealing the feelings I held deep inside. Obviously, this wasn't me in the picture here, yet still, looking at the many feelings for Toriko I could see from here, I was hit with a shock so hard I felt like I'd been punched. The picture was impossible, but those feelings were the truth. To say it another way, I saw myself in her. The me who had that vile look on her face was only captured in the 3rd photo. Looking at the angles, it wouldn't have been strange for her to have appeared in any of the others, but there was no sign of her in the other photos. Toriko showed no sign of noticing her, too. Was this what they called a spirit photo? Whatever she really was, my doppelganger's gaze was fixed on Toriko, and the look in her eyes was concerning. I stood still for a while, then finally I started to walk. I left the apartment behind and turned back to the station. There had been something wrong with me. I couldn't believe I'd thought, even for a second, that it was okay to leave Toriko alone when she'd gone to the other world by herself. The unforgettable words of the space-time man came back into my mind. Give up on that girl and go home, was it? Considering the situation, he had to have been talking about Toriko. He said something about me not being able to come back next time, but he shouldn't have taken me so lightly. I don't know who the old guy was, but if he thought a threat like that would deter me, he had another thing coming. I was heading straight to Jinbusho, right after Toriko, and I was going to bring her back. It was beyond reckless of her to go alone when she couldn't even see glitches, and I was going to give her an earful about it. I descended the hill road to the station, snorting fiercely, but as I was walking, I reconsidered. No, it would be far too careless to go dressed like this. I should go home first, get my equipment together. I need the gun, after all. Is there anything I need to buy? I want a flashlight for when it's night, and food, too. If I head back and then set out now, it'll take at least 2 hours. Longer if I go shopping. I want to avoid the search dragging on so long it becomes night over there. Maybe I should just hold off for today and go tomorrow instead. The more I thought, the heavier my feet became. Huh? What was wrong with me? For some reason, my feet weren't moving forward. My breathing was labored. My chest ached. My mouth felt dry. I'm scared. That's right. I was scared. I was terrified of going to the other side. That feeling, which seemed so natural now that I had named it, slowly seeped into me, slowing my feet until, finally, they stopped. Oh my gosh! Starlight! Hello! Welcome in! How's it going, Raiders? Hello! How was Grand Blue? How was your stream? Oh my gosh! Hello! Hello, Starlight. Hello, Kakaroshi. Hello, hello. I hope it went well. Hello, everybody. Awesome stream. Huge pee explosions. I'm glad it was good. Hello, everybody who came in with Starlight's Raid. If you are not familiar with me, my name is Zukros Yurishigaki Kumajo in training. I am a variety streamer, and when I am not doing ASMR content, I do focus on mostly retro-style games, although I do a little bit of everything. I also have a side focus in fighting games. I play a lot of Grand Blue Rising, so I do enjoy Grand Blue quite a bit. The legendary Kakaryoshi here turbo gapped you and won the last game. And oh my gosh, that's awesome. New model looks good. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. But yes, if you need to raid and run, or same thing goes for your raiders, I completely understand, Starlight. Please take care of yourselves post-stream. But if you want to hang out and listen to a little bit more of story time, you're more than welcome to be here, and I'm super happy to have you. Thank you so much for the raid. Tonight we are reading from a light novel called Otherside Picnic. We are currently on file number 4, so the 4th story, basically. The gist of it is it's 2 college-age girls who find portals to a different world where there's a bunch of basically like SCP style monsters, and they basically kind of go over there hunting for them occasionally and trying to bring back artifacts and stuff. It is I would say more creepy than actually scary. It's not really horror, but it is kind of, slightly suspenseful. So a little bit creepy, but basically the current story is one of the 2 of them has basically gone missing, and the other one is looking for her at this point now. So that's kind of what's going on there. But yeah, I guess I didn't say this part. On Sunday nights, I do cozier content, either complete, like, full ASMR streams, like audio triggers and the like, or cozy gaming, sometimes some hand cam streams, but also sometimes I do storybook reading, like tonight. So, yeah, let me see here. You're looking for a bit, gotta grab some food, but here to help support. Absolutely. Thank you so much for the raid. I really do appreciate it very, very much. Guys, Starlight is an awesome Grand Blue streamer and Jita VTuber. If you enjoy Jeters, their model is hello Duke. Oh my gosh, how's it going? Welcome in. But yeah, their model is Jita, and it's super cute. It's super cute. I love it. But yes, I will be the legendary Jita Tuber. Yeah, Jeter Tuber. But yeah, I will be getting back to the story just because there's a lot left in this particular one. I will be getting around to answering chat messages and channel point redeems when I can, as I am working my way through the book. And yeah, so I will do my best to answer things as I'm able to. So just finished commentating for Starlight's tournament. I hope that was a good time. That's awesome. Can't stay, but I'm doing well. Thank you. I hope you are also doing well. I miss commentating with you, by the way. We should, I need to get you back on for the next Crash Pad Clash when we make that happen again. So, assuming that you're available and all. So, anyways, we have done comms together. But yes, all right. Let me see here. Duke is amazing. Yeah, no, super cool dude. Let me see here. Where was I? I was terrified of going to the other side. That feeling, which seemed so natural now that I had named it, slowly seeped into me, slowing my feet until, finally, they stopped. I had nearly forgotten how terrifying it was to go into that place with its unknown dangers, all alone. Was that possible? For me, who'd been so close to death so many times, to have forgotten how frightening the other world was? I know all too well why I had. Toriko. The reason I'd been fine in that place filled with madness and malice was that Toriko had been by my side. Each of us knew the other's weaknesses, but we could still trust them to watch our back. No matter how crazy the situation, if we were holding hands, that was all it took to keep me calm. She was a partner like no other. With Toriko gone, the fear of the other world, which I'd been able to distract myself from before now, came back with a vengeance, and it was leaving me unable to take another step. Oh, Toriko, you're so amazing. It's a wonder you could go to a place like that alone. Aren't you scared? No, she has to be scared. When the Kunekune almost got us, and when Kozakura started acting weird on the other end of the phone, Toriko had been properly frightened. You're scared, but you still wince. Just how gutsy are you, Toriko? Just how much does Satsuki-san mean to you? I can do it too. I'm going. Just you watch me, damn it. Chapter 4. So, why did you come to my place? Unable to meet the irritable Kozakura's eyes, I looked down at the mug filled with hot cocoa that was sitting on her desk. I thought that maybe you could come with me. No way. Too much of a bother. Her instant rejection made me panic. Toriko went there alone, okay? Her room was all screwed up, and I got some of these weird pictures, and there's definitely something bad going on here. As soon as I arrived at her mansion here in Shakuji-koen, I'd told Kozakura the story of what happened at Toriko's apartment. Despite that, Kozakura was uninterested. I get that it's bad, but why does that mean I should have to go? Huh? That was unexpected, so I stared at her. Looking like she thought it was too much of a bother, she went on. You're all dressed up and raring to go. Why don't you just go and not invite me along? If you keep dawdling, the sun's going to set, you know. Thank you so much. Let me see here. Mitsunari Zerun? Am I pronouncing that correctly? Welcome in, welcome in. Thank you for the follow. That was true. Ultimately, I'd gotten my equipment in order before coming. I had the Makarov stowed in the bottom of my bag, and on the way here from my home in Minamiyono, I'd stopped at the loft in Ikebukuro to pick up a flashlight. Like Kozakura was saying, I might have been better off heading straight to Jinbusho, but... Kozakura-san, you're not worried about Toriko? I'm not suited for field work, that's all. I don't like jumping and running around like the two of you, so I don't want to go outside. Hey, it's not exactly my specialty either. The moment you went diving into that place, you showed you had the potential for it. Come on, get going already. The thing is, I'm, afraid to go alone. Huh? After everything you've been through, you got scared by a spirit photo, and now you need me to go to the bathroom with you? I don't think it's on the same level as that. Going to the washroom with other people was never my thing. Kozakura took a deep breath. Well, let me see. What's this strange photo? I reluctantly booted up my smartphone, opened the message window, then passed it to her. I had told her about the phenomenon I had encountered with the apartment, but I hadn't shown her the photos yet. I didn't want her to see the expression that I, though it wasn't me, was looking at Toriko with. Huh. A Sorowo-chan doppelganger, huh? Fascinating. That's one nasty face. It's my face. And your point is? Huh? Kozakura's fingers, which were scrolling on the screen, came to a stop. Hey, hold on. What is this? The screen which Kozakura thrust toward me displayed another picture, one I hadn't seen before. It was a woman in black standing in front of a ruined building, half buried in the grass. The image quality was bad and it was blurry, but I could make out her stark black hair and thick-rimmed glasses. Huh? Where was this photo? Before the four with Toriko. The date's May 14th. That was the day I'd first met Toriko. I never noticed it. Is it someone you know? Kozakura didn't immediately answer my question. Kozakura-san? Yeah, I know her. I know her well, Kozakura said in a whisper. Satsuki Aruma, the person Toriko's been looking for. This was her? I looked back at the photo again. Seeing Satsuki-san for the first time, I noticed that she was quite tall, though not as tall as the Shaku-sama. There was a certain grace in her pose, her face turned away from the camera, and I found her striking, even in this grainy image. You're saying you never noticed this photo before now? Right. There was doubt in her eyes, but Kozukura quickly looked away from me. I don't like it. Kozukura groaned. Her elbows on her desk, she pressed her fingers against her temple. Unreasonable events clustered together, forming a seemingly meaningful context, yet with no clear indicator whether this is a malicious threat or just a benevolent sign. She muttered to herself, then ominously added, just like with Satsuki. Then a chime rang, and both of us turned to look at one another. It was the doorbell. Kozukura hesitated a moment before reaching for the keyboard. One of the monitors switched over to a color video feed. It displayed the entrance distorted through a fisheye lens. There were 3 middle-aged ladies standing there. Who is it? Kozukura asked through the mic, and the woman in the middle responded. I'm sorry to bother you. We have some questions regarding the person who lives next door. Next door? I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I don't socialize with the neighbors. It's awkward to discuss at the door. Could we speak with you directly? Maybe it is, but I don't know anything. Who are your people anyways? Relatives. It won't take long. Could I ask you to open the door? Not happening. I told you I don't know anything. I stared at the screen as Kozukura briskly handled the 3 women. Something felt off. There was nothing especially bizarre about their appearance, or so I thought. The 3 of them were awfully big. They had broad shoulders, and their blouses and skirts didn't fit. The middle-aged woman stubbornly continued to ask Kozukura to open the door. When I saw the way she persisted, as if she didn't understand the words being spoken to her, even once Kozukura raised her voice, it kind of creeped me out. Then, I noticed a small mark on the woman's chest. It was blurred by the camera, but the shape of the mark made me think of a windmill or flower, and... Instantly, I reached out and snatched the mic away from Kozukura. Whoa, what's wrong, Sarawa-chan? It might be better not to talk with them, I said in a whisper, still holding the mic. They might be like the time-space man. Kozukura's eyes widened as if she'd realized something. Could they be the MIB? I pointed at Kozukura to spite myself and nodded in fervent agreement. Yeah, that's it. They're the MIB, in a sense. Even though we had creepy visitors at the door ringing the bell, seeing how quick Kozukura caught on to what I was saying got me fired up. The Men in Black, a group of black-suited men who visited those who encountered UFOs. They spoke like agents of the government, saying things like, don't disclose information about the UFO to any other parties, or we'll erase all of your memories, but on closer inspection, their actions were bizarre, and they exhibited physical traits that didn't seem entirely human. They often came up in American accounts of UFO sightings. In Japan, accounts of encounters with the MIB aren't common. If we assume that the MIB in America are a local manifestation based on distrust that the people there hold for the CIA and other governmental agencies, then in Japan, if something was going to suddenly visit your home, it might take the form of a middle-aged man or woman who was acting suspiciously. In fact, I remember reading a number of experience reports that featured a visitation by a group of 2 or 3 strange middle-aged women. I can't imagine there had been enough for them to form a pattern, though, I rambled on, speaking quietly. Kozukura cut the mic, leaning back in her chair and looking at the 3 women on screen. Then these aren't the middle-aged women they appear to be. Right. I think the time-space man was the same. In the accounts online, the time-space man was interpreted as a guard monitoring for intrusions into another world. However, for some time now, I'd been unable to dispel the feeling that something was wrong with that interpretation. This guard or watcher stuff, it was just too easy of an explanation. Especially now that I knew about the other side, it seemed like a joke. In that place which defied logic, filled with madness and the unknown, there was room for such an easily understood job to exist? The guy that we met that time we encountered Hishaku-sama, Abarato, told us something. He said that pseudo-humans from the other world stalked him on this side. I thought it was paranoid delusion at the time, but maybe it wasn't complete nonsense. The time-space man was trying to make you stay away from the other world, but these middle-aged women came here on their own. Isn't that contradictory? Are they playing good cop, bad cop to shake us up? I don't think that's it. The man told me to go back, and he threatened me, but he also said to give up on Toriko. No one would just give up after being told to like that, right? That depends on the person, doesn't it? You think? Well, anyway, I don't think we need to spend all that much thought on what their intentions are. They're forming sentences, but they're like bots. There's no meaning behind it. It's true they don't appear to have a proper sense of purpose, Kozakura said quietly, looking at the video. Even without any response from us, the woman in the center was still saying something. The women on either side kept their mouths shut, neither of them changing their posture in the slightest. You called them bots, but they could be a phenomenon. Maybe. What does that mean? We should interpret all of these sorts of events as a single phenomenon. The phenomenon that accompanies encountering the time-space man. The MIB and these three women, they make it confusing because they take human form, but they're an experience, no different from waking up with sleep paralysis or hearing rapping noises. When Kozakura finished speaking, there was a change in the video. The woman who was talking all this time closed her mouth, formed a fist, and began knocking on the door. The woman on the right grabbed the doorknob and started pulling with all her strength. The woman on the left reached for the doorbell and repeatedly rang it. Thank you so much for the follow, Super Foxy. Also, hi, Barry. How's it going? One second. There we are. Knock, knock, knock. Clatter. Rattle, rattle, rattle. Ding, 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 ding. Ding, dong, ding, dong. While the three crazed women assaulted the front door, their faces on camera became horribly distorted. They turned into pixelated masses where you couldn't make out their features. Even from inside Kozakura's room, we could hear the incredible racket at the entrance. I didn't know how strong they were, but the metal of the hinges on the doorknob was creaking. The way things were going, they might bust down the door. Is this a phenomenon too? I asked in a quivering voice, and Kozakura responded with a forced smile. No matter how intense the experience, it doesn't change the fact that it's a phenomenon. Probably. Then there's no way to distinguish it from reality, right? Especially if it's being experienced by multiple people at the same time. Kozakura got down from her chair, then walked over to one corner of the room. She started moving aside a tower of books by splitting it into smaller piles. If this is a phenomenon which humans experience from time to time, whether that's in connection with UFOs or with the time-space man, then what meaning does it hold exactly? Kozakura asked. I couldn't say. In the field of true ghost stories, individual experiences and phenomena have no meaning. We can only say that they're unreasonable. Kozakura shook her head. You can't just give up on interpreting things there. If the reflection of an external entity in our perception is not true to reality, then there's something strange happening in our cognitive process. While I was thinking she could occasionally talk a bit like a researcher, Kozakura finished moving the books, revealing a secret hatch. When she crouched and opened the hatch, I felt some slightly cooler air brush against my feet. It seemed there was storage space underneath the floor there. I took a peek from behind her, wondering what could be inside, and Kozakura pulled out a large firearm, making me back away in fear. Whoa! What is that? A Remington M870. It's an ordinary 12-gauge shotgun. No, but what are you planning to do with that ordinary shotgun? Kozakura sat cross-legged on the floor, loading cylindrical cartridges into the gun one by one. I've tried to keep my distance from the other world all this time, but if they've come to me, what else is there to do? I don't want them wrecking my front entranceway. When she finished loading the gun, Kozakura stood up. Compared with the imposing shotgun she now held, her slim body looked even smaller than her roughly 140 centimeters. Step aside. It's dangerous. I'll go with you. You don't have to push yourself. Kozakura left me behind in the room. I hurriedly dug through my bag, pulled out the Makarov, and followed her. I could see the entranceway at the end of the dark hall. The doorbell wouldn't stop ringing. The door creaked with each blow, and through the ground glass window, I could see a shadowy figure the size of a sumo wrestler moving around violently. I caught up to the shotgun-toting Kozakura and proceeded to the entrance. Hey, cut it out. I'll shoot, Kozakura shouted, pulling the slide on the weapon and pointing the muzzle towards the door. Behind her, I readied my gun, too. Suddenly, the ringing of the doorbell and the rattling of the door stopped, and all fell silent. The shadow of the other side of the glass had ceased moving. What now? Go open it. Me? I can't get my work done until they're chased off. Putting my shoes on, I hesitantly approached the door. I put the chain on, then turned the lock and opened the door. There was no sound from the other side. Huh? This situation... Kazakura, I know this one. What? It's the same as the ruined building in Umiya and Toriko's room. There were violent noises on the other side of the door, and then when it was open, there was nothing there. Now that I think about it, that's a common pattern in true ghost stories, too. We're being stalked by a horror cliché? Kozakura was dubious. A classic one, too. In the old days, they'd have called it tanuki bayashi, though a strange sound thought to be caused by a tanuki. If this really was the work of a tanuki, that would be too funny. So, if we open the door, there'll be no one there then? Probably, I answered, but I could still see a figure on the other side of the glass. I couldn't help but think, if only Toriko were here. If Toriko were with us, I could have remained calm, even in this tense situation. Hesitantly, I gripped the doorknob, then carefully turned it. Pointing my gun at the gap in the door, I slowly pushed it open. No one was there. I thought so. I had half predicted this, but I still let out a sigh of relief. At some point, the figure on the other side of the glass had vanished. Well, no one's there. When I turned back to look, Kozakura stepped down from the raised threshold and put on a pair of sandals. Huh? I just realized this, but I just got used as a scout, didn't I? As I was grappling with that strange feeling, Kozakura wedged herself between me and the door I was holding in order to take a look outside. When I lowered my gaze, I could see the top of her head. She was so tiny. What do you think, Sora-chan? Kozakura asked as she peered out through the gap. I'm gradually starting to understand. Entities from the other world appear in the context of weird tales humans tell. The Kunekune, Hashaku-sama, and Kisaragi Station were all like that. Maybe when they exert their influence on this side, it's the same. If so, why stop short like this? This isn't an assault, it's a ding-dong dash. It's almost like they were going out of their way to try and frighten us. She was looking outside as she grumbled, so I opened the door as wide as the chain would allow for Kozakura's benefit. That was when a giant face suddenly appeared from out of the shadow of the door. The woman's face must have been 2 meters across, and it was so close we could make out the pores on her face. Her lips, which were the size of tires, moved as she spoke in a strangely drawn-out voice. Let me in. Ha! As Kozakura and I screamed in unison, the face lunged. Kozakura recoiled so hard she fell over, but I caught her. Before we knew what happened, the face rushed in through the door, which should have been held shut by the chain. In my arms, Kozakura raised the shotgun and pulled the trigger. The sound of the point-blank gunshot and the flash from the barrel made me involuntarily shut my eyes tight, and I felt a rotten wind rush by. When the wind passed, a warm, heavy air remained. Hesitantly, I opened my eyes and found we were standing in a grassy field with nothing around to block our view. The face, Kozakura's house, all of it was gone. Smoke and the smell of gunpowder rose from the muzzle of Kozakura's shotgun up into the skies of the other side. Are you okay? I asked, snapping a dazed Kozakura back to reality. The hell is this? What am I supposed to do, being thrown out here in this state? Are you trying to kill me? Tearing herself away from me, Kozakura kept shouting. I couldn't blame her. A baggy t-shirt and spats, with clogs on her bare feet. Unlike me, she was totally wearing indoor clothes. What is this? Hitting us with a sucker punch like that? It's not fair. Kozakura raged, prowling back and forth in front of me like a caged mountain cat. While still trying to recover from the shock of it myself, I spoke up quietly. I don't think there's much we can do about it now. But, hey, now that we're in the other side anyway, why don't you help me look for Toriko? Kozakura stopped and turned back, and stared up at me. Sora-chan, you've got a real nice personality. You know that? Huh? While I was still taken aback, Kozakura hung her head and sighed. Oh, whatever. Fine. Thank you. My words of thanks were swept away by the lukewarm wind. Kozakura and I stood there, both feeling awkward. Still, we had to search for Toriko. Hello, Dr. Smug. How's it going? Welcome in. Chapter 5. We started heading for a spot with a good view to get a lay of the land. The fields of the other side sloped gently up and down. and there were places high enough that you could call hills. There was nothing in the place where we had appeared, so we decided I would walk in front, beating a trail for us. The tall grass was harsh on Kozakura's bare legs. Before we got walking, I remembered to take out my color contact. Though they were pretty hard to see under the daylight, this did make it possible to perceive the shining of the glitches. Fortunately, I didn't see many around. Even on the other side, it seemed there was an uneven distribution of glitches. "Are your legs all right, Kozakura-san?" I called out behind me as I stomped down on the grass. If I'm going too fast, let me know. I'll match your pace." Yeah. Perhaps on the rebound from her earlier rage, she was being awfully quiet. When I turned back to look, Kozakura was looking down, as if deep in thought. "Listen, Sorbo-chan." Yes? With an air of importance, Kozakura started to speak. "To give you an example, when you go inside a haunted house, there are some people who are just fine, while others are too scared to take a step, right?" "I've never been inside a haunted house." "Me neither." "Then why use that as your example?" "Well, it can be horror movies or anything else, really. Tolerance for fear varies from person to person. This is a purely psychological issue. It's determined by the degree to which fear signals coming from the amygdala deep inside the brain exert control over the frontal lobe. Whether a person's easily frightened or not is determined by genetics. If the serotonin transporter's gene's activation sequence is long, more serotonin is produced in the nervous cells, and the tendency towards unease is lessened. Which is to say, you get less scared." "Right." While I was confused about what she was getting at, Kozakura turned an annoyed eye towards me. "Basically, my serotonin transporter gene is short." "Oh, you're a real scaredy cat, then." "That's right," Kozakura snapped. "Why are you getting mad?" "I'm not mad. Damn it, I can't handle this place." "You can't?" "I'm scared to death. I never wanted to come here again." I was surprised by this unexpected confession. "Huh? But didn't you say you were doing a joint research project on the other world with Satsuki-san before?" "Yeah, it wasn't as bad when Satsuki was around, but even then I was only able to enter the other world 3 times. Once I refused to do the field work, Satsuki and I gradually stopped getting along so well. Eventually, she brought in one of the students she was tutoring, said she was her new partner." "That was..." "She's talking about Toriko." "Toriko was the opposite of me. She had a resistance to fear, the perfect choice for Satsuki's partner. Unafraid, able to use a gun, and loyal to Satsuki. That woman was practically born to come here." I felt like there were some implications to be unpacked in the way she said that. "What did Toriko think about it?" "She was head over heels for Satsuki, of course. She had some wits about her, but she was still just a high school girl, unfamiliar with the workings of the world. It took no time for Satsuki to win her over. It was always like that with Satsuki, though. She charmed anyone who came near her, using them as she pleased. A natural-born alpha female." There was indescribable frustration in Kozakura's voice as she spoke. While I was considering how I should respond, Kozakura seemed to come to her senses and return to the topic at hand. "What I'm trying to say is, if something attacks us here, I doubt I'm going to be of any help, so watch yourself." "That can't be right. I mean, you've got a shotgun. It'll be fine." The shotgun, right. Satsuki gave it to me, saying it was so I could hit things even with my eyes closed. Here, look." When I looked closely, on the muzzle, there was a part with deep cuts in it. It was shaped like the mouth of an alligator. "The Gator shotgun spreader. You put one of these on, and it spreads the shot horizontally. Turns a broad, fan-shaped area in front of you into a kill zone. So, listen, if there's an emergency, make sure you're not standing in front of me, because I'll shoot whether you're there or not." I had been standing in front of a person holding something that dangerous? "Then could you take points? I'll follow behind you." Kozakura shook her head vigorously. "If we had an encounter on the first kind of the surface world, I could still bear it. But in the other world, I'm too scared to restrain myself. Even now, it's taking all I have not to start screaming." Kozakura hesitated, then continued. "There are times when I think the phenomena in this world are deliberately trying to frighten humans." I agreed with her there. This time was one example, but something had also felt off about the Kunekune and Hashaku-sama. It was like they were trying to show people a form that would frighten them. When we were at Kisaragi Station, I had felt an even more clear intent to frighten humans and drive them into madness. I understand. Let's find Toriko quick and get back. I'd appreciate it if we could, Kozakura said with a serious look on her face. Standing on a hill, I looked around the area. I didn't really understand the geography of the other world. I'd considered using the landmarks dotted around the vast plains to make a map, but hadn't gotten started on the idea yet. It was night, and we couldn't tell what was going on last time, and the time before that. We'd only covered a limited area. Can you see anything? Behind me, a wheezing Kazakura caught up and asked. North is probably this way, so... With a wobbling compass in hand, I squinted, searching for familiar places. The grassy field at the bottom of the hill was sparkling. There was apparently something there that reflected light. When I looked past there was a gray barrel-like structure. Found it! I cried out despite myself. It was Toriko's usual point of entry, the skeletal building connected to Jinbusho. Things were looking good. We were on a hill west of that building now. To reach it, we would have to cross the marsh. When I first met Toriko, I nearly died there. The sparkling at the foot of the hill was coming from the water pool around the roots of the grass. That meant the glitch field where we'd met Aberrato was to the right. As for the white coral-like building where we'd had our encounter with Hishaku-sama, it might have been hidden behind one of the groves of trees that were scattered around, because I couldn't see it. The tracks which led to Kisaragi Station weren't around either. I remember having seen something like them from the rooftop of the skeletal building, though. Let's go. When I turned back and urged her to follow me, Kozakura was squatting like some delinquent, hanging her head. She was breathing really fast. If she was winded climbing a little slope, she was as unhealthy as she looked. Are you all right? Damn it, I'm in sandals here. With a groan, Kozakura used the shotgun as a crutch to help herself up. I began descending the hill slowly, making sure not to open too much of a gap between us. Soro-chan, you're a surprisingly good walker. Huh? Am I? Compared to Kozakura, maybe everyone was. You're able to keep up with Toriko, so you have to be. She's a stamina monster too, after all. Did you used to play sports? Maybe it's because... Back when I was a student preparing for entrance exam, I was always taking walks at night. Oh, and exploring ruins on my own was a hobby of mine, so I'm used to walking in places with bad footing. That's a rather dangerous hobby. Exploring ruins alone and as a woman? Crazy, Kozakura said, sounding surprised. Well, you're right. I certainly had my share of scares. Abandoned ruins were kind of dangerous. Delinquents would always do bad things there, and weirdos sometimes made them into their hideaways. Besides, while I was making it sound cooler by calling it ruin exploration, I was just trespassing. I could have fallen through a rotten floor or gotten tetanus off a nail that was sticking out. There were plenty of physical dangers. If I thought about it calmly, it was utter lunacy for a high school girl to be lurking around those places alone. I was having a rough time back then, and may have fallen into a bit of desperation. Oh, why is that? Something to do with my parents, involving religion. Oh, no, it was no big deal, really. I was making excuses despite myself. My mother died young, and then my father and grandmother fell in with a cult, so things were a bit weird. They threw out our household Shinto shrine and Buddhist altar, and they went to this place called Tashiro Pass in the U Mountains a number of times. Our house became a place for believers to gather, and people spread rumors about it at school. They tried to make me join, and I really didn't want to, so I tried to stay away from the house as much as possible. As we walked down the hill, I kept talking, as if trying to fill in the awkwardness between Kozakura and me. I nearly got kidnapped by another religious group on the way home from school, and someone torched the manga cafe where I was staying, so I was camping out in ruins for lack of any other option. Then one night, in this rundown love hotel, I had this dream where I was being hugged by this really soft red person. I was like, oh, is this my mom? But no, of course it wasn't. She was dead, after all, but that time the person asked me, do you not need those people? And I said I didn't. When I woke up, I was out of food and money. I went home, thinking about how I didn't want to. I got some kerosene ready, and I waited. Kerosene? But I waited for days, and in the end, no one came. Just when I was thinking good riddance, the police called, and they told me the bodies had been found. They told me that they all got taken out by gas that had settled in a depression in the mountains. All of them. They wouldn't show me the bodies, though. Now I was alone. I managed to get into university somehow with a student loan, but those people, they were so passionate about charity, they didn't leave me an inheritance. I mean, in the end, student loans are debt, right? I felt like I'd never repay it, and I had no idea what I was going to do, and then I met Toriko. When I realized Kozukura wasn't saying anything, I stopped. I'm sorry, this can't be very interesting. I mean, it's no big deal. Just ignore... What do you mean, no big deal? When I turned around, Kozukura was staring at me in blank amazement. What? Do you honestly believe that? Huh? Is something strange? I think my story is a fairly common one. No, it's not. As I stared blankly at her, Kozukura shook her head in exasperation. You've had a bad run of luck too, huh? Sure. Well, I can see why you're so unusually resilient now. Huh? I've never thought of myself that way, though. You had me completely fooled. You don't have the same strong sense of presence that Toriko does, after all. Yeah, compared to Toriko, I'm nothing special. What made her personality like that, anyway? I don't know about personality, but she's Canadian-born, and her parents were soldiers. They were a special operations force called JTF2. Seems they taught her all sorts of things from a young age. That shaped her character, I think. Huh. So that's why she can use a gun. I nodded in satisfaction. It seemed they'd taught her well. Her parents are in Canada? I hear they passed away. Oh. For some reason, that wasn't surprising to me. From the moment I met Toriko, I'd had that feeling. Toriko was in a hole like me, but despite that, she seemed to have something I lacked. Well then, from Toriko's perspective, how had I looked? Okay, we are about halfway through this particular file, but we're also approaching 12:30, and I do have work in the morning, unfortunately. So we are at chapter 6, so I think next time we start this up, I will cancel work, keep reading. Wait, how much do I actually have left here? Like, how long are these chapters? I'm at page 142. Oh yeah, no, I am literally halfway through this. There's still another 30 pages to go. Yeah, this is gonna take a bit here. I can do one more. I'm gonna do one more chapter. I can do one more chapter, but then we will start looking for somebody to write out too. Okay? Because I should be able to finish this next chapter is not too long. So, chapter 6. The water in the grass was knee-high, but that was my knees. Kozukura was up to her thighs in water, and her face was pale. This is cold, okay? Let's get through it quickly. From the way things looked up top, it's not too far to dry land. It would have been a long way around if we wanted to avoid the marshland. There wasn't much time until the sun set. I wanted to avoid encountering a hostile entity at night when I had Kozukura with me. The grass touching me underwater feels gross. Hold on, my sandals come off. Kozukura seemed to be gradually losing her composure. Maybe to assuage her fear, she started getting more talkative. If she would just watch where she was pointing that gun, she was welcome to complain all she wanted. In fact, it was actually kind of cute how scared she was. Don't rush. Just hold on to my clothes and walk. If you see something in the water, could you tell me? What do you mean, something? Anything other than grass. What I was afraid of were glitches in the water. I'd taken a quick look before we entered the marsh and hadn't seen any of the silver haze that indicated danger, but my eyes didn't reach underwater. We had to take each step cautiously. Oh, no, 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 no. Ignoring Kozukura's chanting behind me, I pressed forward. We'd walked for probably over 10 minutes. Noticing something abnormal ahead, I raised my voice. Stop! Kozukura plowed into my back and stopped. What? It's a glitch. That glitch, which we would have stepped right into if I wasn't looking out for it, was beautiful. There was a clearly defined cylinder in the water, and inside it was a vortex. I was able to see it because there were foreign objects inside the eddy. I had thought it was trash at first, but it was the twisted, torn-apart remains of a fire extinguisher. Inside the cylinder, which was less than a meter across, there was a raging current, strong enough to tear apart hard metal. What name would Alvarado have given it? Something easy, like washing machine, maybe. We'll divert around to the left. Follow me slowly. I couldn't be sure how far its area of effect was just by looking at it. If we got careless and got too close, it might pull us in all at once, so I led Kozakura away from it, keeping more than 10 meters away. Once we'd cautiously made it through to the other side, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. That was dangerous, huh? What are they doing here? Huh? I saw people I don't know. I turned towards the lifeless voice, and Kozakura was looking off into the distance, up ahead of us on the right. Her mouth hung open, drool dripping down to land in the water below. As I followed her gaze, what jumped into my vision was 4 white scarecrows in the grass. No. Wrong. Those were kunikunes. A harsh stench like that of raw fish struck my nose. I looked down before thinking, and covered Kozakura's eyes. Don't look, Kozakura-san! When I shouted in her ear, Kozakura jumped a little. Sorabo-chan. Those things, they're crazy. Don't worry, we're fine. Those ones, I've beaten them before. I talked fast, supporting the shotgun that Kozakura was holding. You can do this with your eyes closed. I'll look. When I say shoot, please shoot. Can you do that? Just do it already, Kozakura said, groaning in a way that wasn't cute at all. She didn't have to tell me twice. I looked up, gazing directly at the kunikunes. When I perceived them, it caused an instant bout of nausea. The kunikunes were trying to invade me through my sense of sight. Still, 4 of you? You lost last time, so you're trying to win with numbers? Screw that power creep. You're not enemies in an RPG, okay? Unfortunately for you, though, I'm not the same person I was back then. I mean, I have the power to see you for what you really are now. But wait, though. Didn't my right eye end up like this because I came in contact with a kunikune? By the time that thought had occurred to me, my right eye had already recognized the kunikunes. In the next instant, I was cast into a strange world. I was sliding over a watery surface curved into a hemispherical shape. In the area around me, there were white spheres connected by thin string structures that were moving around. Everything was blue above the water. Beneath it was dark like a well. When I turned my consciousness in that direction, I was quickly pulled down into the very bottom of that well. In the darkness, I felt a prickling sensation. Overlapping of sensory patterns, forming some kind of meaning. White scarecrows, rice paddies, snake scales, binoculars. As each concept rose into my mind, my mouth, my human mouth, moved. I could feel it forming words. Then, I understood. The curved surface. It was my eye. I was looking at myself from the kunikune's perspective. Half crazed, I tore my mind away from it. My mouth formed words. The sound reached my ears. Shoot! The shotgun roared. The shot was spread horizontally by the gator, and it blew away 2 kunikunes up ahead of us. The tears flowed like I was a broken faucet. Catching the other 2 in my blurry vision, I yelled out, "One more shot!" The gun kicked, and the other side of the grass the white shadows scattered. The ejected shell fell into the water, then was instantly sucked into the washing machine. As the red plastic cylinder was torn to shreds, tears poured from my eyes. The echo of the gunshot faded. I couldn't move. If I had been leaning on Kozakura, I'd likely have slumped into the water. If I hadn't been leaning on Kozakura, I'd likely have been slumped into the water. Get off. You're heavy. Kozakura's complaining finally pulled me back to reality. When I got up, taking my hands off her, Kozakura squinted and looked around the area. Did we get them? Yeah. Sorabo-chan, you were babbling some weird stuff, you know. Kozakura looked up at me as if she was creeped out. I slowly nodded. It was like that when I encountered one of them with Toriko, too, unconsciously spewing some bizarre language. So, that was it. Those things, they were contacting the knowledge of the kunikune inside me. The bizarre language that came out of my mouth when I went kunikuning hunting with Toriko, it had seemed meaningless and random, but something about it bothered me. There were a number of words I recognized. When I looked it up later, I figured it out. It was fragments from the text of a netlore account of the Kunikune, patched together into something else. The creatures of this place use monsters as a template, but are still trying to access human knowledge of monsters? Kozukura frowned as she thought about it. So, basically, they act in ways we expect monsters to act. Does that mean they're created inside the human brain? But I've never heard anyone talk about the true identity of the Kunikune being a creature that moves around inside your eye. I'm having a hard time imagining the walking gallows we encountered at Kisaragi Station came out of any pre-existing ghost story either. In that case, there must be something in the other world, and it uses the horror stories inside people and their concept of monsters. Kozukura-san, you said it before, didn't you? That the phenomena of the other side looked like they were deliberately trying to scare humans. In order to cause fear, maybe they search the human brain, drawing from our database of horror stories to create the forms they take. Or perhaps it's the opposite. Their goal isn't to cause fear. It may be that contact with the other world inherently inspires fear in humans. The monster database in our brain simply happens to lie along the channel through which we make contact with the other world. Then, we heard a noise in the distance, and we both stopped. There was the same sound once more. The bursting noise that rang out twice. It had to be a gunshot. It's Toriko. Without a shred of doubt, I knew. Toriko was calling me. Okay, now it is 12:30, so I do need to go ahead and end out here. But yes, thank you so much for coming to watch, you guys. I hope you enjoyed. We will... Oh my gosh. Welcome in, Umbra. Thank you so much for the raid. Hello, raiders. How was Trails of the Sky? Oh my gosh, that's been forever since I've played that game. I hope it went well. Thank you for the stream. Absolutely, Rex. I'm so sorry, Umbra. I am actually about to raid out here as well, so it will be a bit of a raid train going on. Hello, RPG dude. But I will say hello here. No, you're fine. It's okay. Don't worry about it. It's fine. But yeah, it is. It's on the late end of when I will. The stream will never end. Oh my gosh. Okay, hang on. How long is chapter 7? Oh, chapter 7 is actually pretty short. Come on. I can't just keep going though. I can't. It was fun. The remake is good, and it's your birthday now. Oh my gosh! Happy birthday, Umbra! Happy birthday. I hope you have a great one. But yeah. Hello, everybody who came in with Umbra Sykes' raid. If you are not familiar with me, my name is Sucrose Shigeki, Kumajo in training. I am a variety streamer, and I mostly focus on retro-style content. When I'm not doing ASMR stuff, at least, that is. On Sunday nights, I do cozier stuff, whether that's ASMR streams or cozy gaming, sometimes some hand cam stuff, and sometimes, like tonight, we read stories. I was reading from a light novel known as Otherside Picnic, and we got about halfway through the 4th story in it. So yeah. But yeah, outside of ASMR stuff, I mostly do stuff like JRPGs, platformers, Metroidvanias, sometimes fighting games as well. I play a lot of Grand Blue Rising. You love Otherside Picnic? Okay. Well, alright. Since it's your birthday, Umbra, I can read one more chapter if you want. It's short. It's like 2 pages. I can read this one more chapter. So, you have convinced me. I will go for one more. Okay. We're almost done. But one more. We're on file number 4. I don't know if you've read the light novel or not, or if you've just seen the anime or read the manga, but this part is in the anime though, so this is the story where Toriko goes missing, and Sorrowo accidentally drags Kozakura along to go look for her. So right now, Kozakura and Sorabo are both in the other side. Chapter 7. Once we had shaken off the shock of the Kunekune encounter, we started walking once more. As we progressed east, the water level gradually dropped. The sun started to set, and the wind picked up. When a moist wind blew across the water, it made it feel even chillier. Kozakura was shivering so bad I felt sorry for her. See, I told you Toriko was alive. You should have just left her alone instead of putting me through all this. Trying to warm herself up with seething rage, Kozakura muttered a torrent of hateful invectives towards Toriko. I'll turn that bird brain into fried chicken, or chicken soup. If we had a saucepan, I'd add some fish and make hot pot. It isn't hot pot season. Oh, shut up, I'm cold. The water receded from knee level to calf level before we finally made it to dry land. Kozakura crouched down, totally spent. Are you okay? Of course not. I was sliding my feet the whole time, trying to avoid losing a sandal. My thighs are killing me. Okay, let's take just a 3-minute break. What are you, some kind of ogre? Come on, Toriko's calling, I said with more passion than I'd intended to. If she made the choice to shoot twice, that likely meant she was able to hear the 2 shots we'd fired against the Kunekunes from where she was. Toriko's not far, so let's keep doing our best until we get to her. Kozakura looked up to the heavens with an exhausted expression on her face. I thought you were a subculture maniac with no communication skills, but you were actually a psychopath with dependency issues? Give me a break. Did you just say something really awful? I wish you had some degree of self-awareness. Seriously. When I looked at Kozakura... Oh my gosh. Jay! Hello! How's it going, Jay? Welcome in. Welcome in, Raiders. Oh my gosh. Welcome in, welcome in. Thank you so much. How was your stream, Jay? I hope it went well. Hello. Hello. Is it, Sendemaniac? And did your ASMR stream a bit early so you had to raid me? I appreciate it so much. I hope it went well. Went very well. How's reading going? Going well. We are about halfway through file 4 of Otherside Picnic. I am probably going to be looking to raid out at the end of this chapter, but we're not quite there yet. So, but yeah, thank you to everybody who came in with Jay's raid. If you are not familiar with me, my name is Sucrose Shigeki Kumajo in training. I am a variety streamer and I mostly focus on retro style content. When I'm not doing ASMR stuff, I do stuff like JRPGs, platformers, Metroidvanias, sometimes fighting games. I play a lot of Grand Blue. But then on Sunday nights, we have cozier streams here, cozier content, whether that's full ASMR streams or cozy gaming or hand cam stuff sometimes, or like tonight, we are reading from a book. Got a raid and run, have a little bit of the rest of the chapter? Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jose Angel, for the follow. I appreciate it. But yeah, if you guys need to raid and run alongside Jay, that's totally fine. I completely understand. Please take care of yourselves post-stream. Go get some rest, go get some food, go get some sleep, whatever you need. But if you do want to hang out and listen to the end of this chapter, you're more than welcome to be here, and I'm super happy to have you. Thank you so much again for the raid. We will be moving on in kind of a raid train kind of situation soon here, because we will be getting to the end of this shortly. But, at least for the time that we have left, I hope you enjoy. Oh yeah, my ASMR soundtrack, I guess, is there's a playlist with a bunch of like video game covers, like piano covers. So yeah, this one, we've got a handful from Breath of the Wild in there for sure. So yeah, liked my voice, so you felt compelled to start following me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Okay, where were we at here? I will do my best to answer, to respond to chat messages where I can. Perfect for a comm stream. Yeah, I like it a lot. We used to kind of do some like lo-fi stuff in here, but it got copyright flagged a lot, so I wanted something that wouldn't be, and this playlist does not trip copyright, which is nice. So yeah, but in any case, let me see here. Where were we at? If she'd made the choice to shoot twice, that likely meant she was able to hear the 2 shots we'd fired against the Kunikunes from where she was, too. Toriko's not far, so let's keep doing our best until we get to her. Kozakura looked up to the heavens with an exhausted expression on her face. I thought you were a subculture maniac with no communication skills, but you were actually a psychopath with dependency issues? Give me a break. Did you just say something really awful? I wish you had some degree of self-awareness. Seriously. When I looked at Kozakura, clutching her shotgun in her knees, shivering, I started to feel a bit sorry for her. I don't have any clothes to offer, but, would you like a hug? Judging by Kozakura's expression, that was not an appropriate offer. In case you're misunderstanding, I don't have anything against you, Kozakura-san. Stop it. Stop it. I still want to cling to the hope that I'm talking to a human being that understands words. Right. Before you go and say any more weird things, I'm going to start talking myself. MIT created an image generator called the Nightmare Machine. It's a program that uses deep learning to warp people's faces or make scenery seem sinister, creating images that unnerve humans. If you just put things through a filter that follows certain fixed rules, it's simple to frighten humans. Oh, I can understand that. I think you could apply that sort of formula to true ghost stories and net lore, too, I said. The output of the Nightmare Machine is visual, but I'm sure it would be possible to create natural linguistic output in the same way. The point is, scary is something you can make. Tapping a finger on her temple, Kozakura continued. Let's call this filter a scary filter a fear function. Let's call this filter for scary a fear function. When the input of the sensory organs is passed through a fear function, anything we see or hear becomes scary. This is something that's known to happen in the case of things like alcohol dependence and depression, too. It's a malfunction of the nervous system, one that's completely inside the brain, but if the fear function existed externally, you would expect the same things to happen. Externally? In a place that warps the cognition just by being exposed to it, it could arise from societal cues, or physical causes such as air pressure or chemical substances, but the result would touch a weak point in the human brain. What we'd call haunted locations may be an example of one such place. So, basically, you're saying that the other side causes anomalies in the human brain, and it acts as a massive fear function? Yes, I do have one piece of evidence that this place exerts an effect of the brain. Kozakura pointed to the barrel of her shotgun. Look at your own gun. You shouldn't be able to read the inscription or numbers on it. I drew the Makarov from its leg holster and looked at it. Kozakura was right. The text carved into the metal had turned into strange symbols, the meaning of which was completely indiscernible. Come to think of it, whenever we come to this place using the elevator, the text on the panel gets all weird too. Somewhere in the transition from the surface world to this world, our linguistic abilities are being invaded. As proof that this is a non-permanent change, the inscriptions on our guns will go back to normal when we take them home from the other world. It's not the text itself that changes, it's our ability to read. This phenomena resembles sensory aphasia, one impairment of our higher brain functions. If there's damage to the Wernicke's area in the temporal lobe of the human brain, a person loses the ability to understand the meaning of words, and they might start speaking nonsense. However, Kozakura reached out, writing the kanji for moon on the ground. I could read it without issue. If something's written here, we have a mutual ability to understand it. However, what I've written here should have no meaning back in the surface world. Then what exactly is it that I've written? This may not only affect written text either. Are we really managing to have a conversation? Kozakura looked at me in the eye, then continued. If what you just experienced through the Kunikune's perspective is true, the Kunikune are indeed having an effect on our linguistic capability. The strange language is only a byproduct of that. We didn't need to wait for an encounter with the Kunikune for that to happen, though. From the point we enter the other world, there's already something shoving its hand into our human brains. And so, as a part of that process, or the result of it, fear is born. We looked at one another, feeling a little chilled. Hesitantly, I opened my mouth again. That's all very interesting, but your 3 minutes are up. Let's go. Kazakura's eyes went wide. Seriously? Give me another 3 minutes. If you prefer, Kazakura-san, I can go on by myself. No, you ogre. Okay, and that is the end of chapter 7. And it is a good bit later than I would normally end stream, so we will need to kind of wind down from here. But yes, thank you so much, everybody who came to watch. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will be doing more readings of this story in a couple weeks. I think next stream we will either have a cozy gaming stream or just a normal ASMR audio trigger stream. And then the week after, we can get back to more story reading. So for those who are interested in hearing more ASMR from me, I do them on Sunday nights. So next week, Sunday, I will have another one. If you're interested in seeing anything else I do outside of the ASMR, my next stream is going to be on Tuesday. We are actually going to be having a kind of holiday hangout of sorts, like a Christmas party, kind of, in a way. I'll be going over like the games we played this year. Kind of, I want to try to like rank the stuff we played, kind of a look back on the year as we're closing it out, as well as like some other kind of like silly tier listy stuff, Christmas theme, like Christmas candies, Christmas like decorations, stuff like that. Just, you know, silly stuff for us to kind of talk about and chat about. And also, I have been gathering a bunch of Christmas commercials from my community, particularly weird or interesting ones, or just ones that my community particularly likes, and we're going to be watching them, and I'll be giving my reactions to them. I might also be playing a bit of some holiday themed games and such too, so should be a good time. I hope people wind up liking it, and I hope to see some people there. So in the meantime, let's go ahead and look for who we might raid out to. Let me see here. Who is doing ASMR stuff right now? Let's see. There are a couple people here. Let me see here. I think we can send you guys out. Thank you for the bits while running. It does not throw during the ASMR streams because I have that part turned off, but I appreciate the bit regardless. So I think we're gonna go out to Shia. It's been a minute since we've raided into her. So oh wait, so she is a bilingual streamer, so she might be doing some stuff in Spanish, but she does also speak English, so I'll be sending you guys out that way. So let me go ahead and start that up. Those of you coming with me on this raid, we do have a raid message. If you're subscribed and have access to the emotes, it is this. If you are not subscribed, that's totally fine. We've got you covered on with this one instead. Please feel free to use either one of those as we raid in to Jaya. And yeah, let me get. I know sometimes the raid leaves people behind. Just in case it does, there is the channel if you want to follow along that way. Yeah, like I said, I will be back on Tuesday in the evening, 7 p.m. Central, as usual, and we'll have a nice kind of pre-holiday hangout. I'm looking forward to it. But until then, I hope you guys have a great rest of your night and a great start to your week, and I will see you next time. Have a great night, chat. Sleep well. Hang tight for that read.